It's a battle of the best in the West at BC Place. The Stampeders and the Lions are both 8-3. The winner claims first place with 6 weeks left before the playoffs. So it's crunch time in Vancouver.
No question. The Stamps are the defending champs. The Lions are arguably the #1 contenders. Two heavyweights are going to go toe-to-toe here under the dome.
Calgary's Wally Buono is accustomed to being first. His Stampeders have finished #1 in the West, a record tying 7 times in the 90s. If he makes it again, he'll be the only coach in CFL history to finish first 8 times.
And the only coach that he hasn't beat this or last year has been Greg Mons, 4-0 against Wally Buono and the Calgary Stampeders. And despite winning 14 of his last 17 games, many in the football world still think Greg Mons needs to win this game here tonight against the Calgary Stampeders to silence the critics.
Well, I like his enthusiasm. He's done a lot for the BC Lions since taking over in October of last year. Ready for the kickoff as Brett Anderson is set. The Calgary Stampeders will receive it, and they send Coleman deep. He's their #1 guy, along with Kelvin Anderson. Lions have yet to beat the BC Lions in '99, so there's a lot riding on this one tonight.
This is going to be fun. This is the best in the West going at it. The guy who comes out of this one has the best record in the whole CFL.
And looking ahead, only 6 weeks to go. Somehow you get yourself in the driver's seat if you pull off this victory here.
I might tackle you on this kickoff, if that's okay. I'm pretty pumped up for this one.
Well, if you're ready, I'm ready. Kelvin Anderson, and there was nowhere to go after he got that. Tonight's starting lineups brought to you by Midas Car Care, the way it should be. Calgary's Dave Dickinson has taken a pounding this season. He's been sacked 20 times. He has a full house of offensive stars, including Kelvin Anderson and Alan Pitts. And up front, Fred Childress is back, and Calgary will run right behind the Big Chill tonight. Stampeders are 1st and 10 out across the 35 at about the 38. Kelvin Anderson across the 40 to the 42.
Defensively up front, Dave Chaders missed last week's game versus Montreal to rest a sore back, but he's back in the lineup here tonight. Paul Lacoste is the run stopper in the linebacking core. And in the secondary, Raphael Robinson. The defensive coaching staff say he's the best defensive player they have this season.
Kane is 4. This will be 2nd and 6, Stampeders. To the near side, Aubrey Cummings flanks wide. Hits in motion. And timing was off, so they'll do this one again. First flag of the night on the 3rd play of the ball game.
Well, we talked about Dave Dickinson and how he has been banged up throughout this season.
Procedure, Calgary 68, repeat 2nd down.
Fred Childress still trying to get his timing down perfect.
Yeah, and they're happy to have big Fred Childress back. As I was mentioning, Dave Dickinson being pounded this year. Will have the Big Chill back in the lineup will help in that category, no question about it. Last year's outstanding lineman in the CFL.
2nd and 11. From the shotgun, Dickinson stands in and escapes.
Whoa!
He's hammered at the 41. Gain of about 4. But he looked a little tentative here, didn't he?
Well, he's banged up. He's got the sore shoulder and the bad knee. It was drained earlier in the week. He did take his reps and is in the lineup, but watch the hit he's going to take here after he makes Dave Chaders miss him. He gets hit by a couple of guys. Here comes Antonio Armstrong. He's right on top of him, and he was kind of tiptoeing through that lineup, really not running with a lot of aggression. He was kind of tiptoeing in there, and Benefield and Antonio Armstrong really lower the boom on him.
Jimmy Cunningham back at his 25, ready to receive this Tony Martino punt. Martino across the 30 to get it away. High and fairly deep, chasing Cunningham back inside the 20. A nice lane opened up for the Jet, and he's hammered as he crosses the 35. Damon Allen is having a superb season, 16 touchdowns already. He was a little off last week. Allen has some big play receivers with Alfred Jackson and Eddie Brown, plus running backs like Robert Drummond and Juan Johnson. Group up front is led by Jamie Terrace, a 13-year veteran, all those years with the BC Lions.
I'm going to look forward to seeing how they use Juan Johnson and Robert Drummond together in the lineup. Tonight, Jimmy the Jet is the designated import. This is, of course, Juan Johnson's third game in the lineup and first start, and he's in the backfield right now with Drummond out at a wide receiver position. So we'll watch how they use the both of them here tonight.
First down for the Lions at the 35. Juan Johnson has a couple.
Well, defensively for the Calgary Stampeders, they're led up front by Steve Anderson. Alondra Johnson having a great season in the middle. Darryl Hall will be the guy matched up on Robert Drummond if he moves out of the backfield. And a couple of ball hawks back there. Jack Kellogg and William Hampton are having big years. 5 interceptions each.
Gain was 3 for Johnson. This is 2nd and 7. Allen puts it up on the money, and Rod Harris couldn't squeeze it. Can't blame the quarterback.
Well, no, and this is what I've often said, is that the quarterback will get the incompletion, but this is right in the breadbasket. I mean, I think Rod Harris just looked up the field to where he was going to run before he caught the ball. You see how his head turned and looked to where the hit was coming from Chad Krisk? Well, he forgot one thing. He forgot the rock. Damon Allen will go right back to him. The veteran quarterbacks always do that so they don't have a receiver with a confidence problem.
Lou Pasaglia sails a nice one. Hampton returning for the Stampeders, and the Lions strung him out. 4 on the return, 47 on the punt. Dickinson gets control when we return to CFL Live from BC Place.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you by Castrol GTX Drive Hard. And by Molson Canadian. Here's where we get Canadian.
Stampeder head coach Wally Buono looking for his first victory over Greg Mons. The Lions won 37-27 in July and 13-9 at McMahon Stadium in Calgary in August.
Well, all through that break, he had a long conversation with the officials on the sideline, trying to get on them early and often here tonight. 1st and 10, Stampeders just shy of the Calgary 30-yard line. Dickinson back in a hurry and picked off by Benefield. He was looking for Kelvin Anderson, and Anderson might have slipped, and it went right into Benefield's hands. Well, when you overthrow a receiver, this is what happens more time than not. And it's a big play for the BC Lions in a sudden change situation. Dave Dickinson simply overthrows Kelvin Anderson. He leaks out of the backfield. It's an overthrow. Kelvin Anderson can't get there, and David Benefield does. David Benefield this year has been asked to drop as a linebacker, play more like a true linebacker like he did early in his career and like he did when he was in San Francisco.
And he's having
he's having a great year, John. You're right.
Best season in some time on the turnover. 1st and 10, Lions set up at the Calgary 37. Flags are down. Don Blair made the catch, and we'll check out the infraction. Good for 12 yards if it stands.
Damon Allen empties the backfield. He puts both Juan Johnson and Robert Drummond out as wide receivers. And what it does for Damon Allen is it gives him a chance to read the defense before he snaps the football. What I mean by that is when he puts the running backs out, if Alondra Johnson, number 51, stays in the middle, then he knows they've got to be playing zone defense.
Number 84. First down.
It was going against Calgary, so they'll take the play because it was a bigger game by Don Blair than the 5-yard penalty. This is what I mean when I'm talking about. See, if Alondra Johnson stays there, then Damon Allen reads that it's zone defense, and he knows he's going to take the hot receiver, which is Don Blair, right off the snap. Dump it to Don Blair. He knows that's the guy he wants to go to. If Alondra Johnson goes out of there and covers Drummond or Juan Johnson, then he's got man coverage.
1st and 10, Lions at the Stampeder 25. A little shovel pass to Juan Johnson. And he was wrapped up by Steve Anderson, number 92.
Well, Steve Anderson put it to him. He put it in the ear hole of Juan Johnson. And that's one thing I've noticed early in this game. as it has already been a physical affair. I mean, he takes a big hit at the end of this play. It looks a little like a little backyard sandlot football from Damon Allen. Steve Anderson really put it on Juan Johnson, but he jumped up.
Gain will be 8. 2nd and 2. Stampeders turning it over inside the 35-yard line, and the Lions threatening to score here early in the opening quarter.
2nd and 2 is an ideal situation if you're on offense. Not so good if you're on the defensive side.
Little play action fake by Allen, and he had to slide to the turf. Couldn't find anything there.
Yeah, you know, that was a broken play. That was a broken play. That's not the design of the play. There's no way that Damon Allen turns away like that. See, what he did is he turned the wrong way. The play was designed, it looked like to me, to go to Robert Drummond. So he turns to go to Robert Drummond, and he's already by him. So now he's just trying to make what he can and get down on the turf and not take the big hit.
Lou Pasaglia in to try for the first points of the evening. 1 for 4 last week. Pasaglia made his first field goal and then was injured on punt cover.
Well, John, you know what? This is a nice place to fake one.
Except they're taking 3.
Yeah, they're going to take the 3.
Pasaglia has the Lions on the board. It's 3-0 at the stadium at BC Place. And this is CFL Live. It could have been worse for Wally and the Stampeders. The interception only cost them 3. Here's what Calgary has to do to win this tonight.
First and foremost, protect the quarterbacks, whoever's in there. And right now it's Dave Dickinson. You got to protect him. He's been taking a pounding. 36 sacks on the year against their quarterbacks. Pressure Damon Allen in the 3 losses. He's been sacked 7 times and thrown 3 interceptions. If you get some pressure on him, he may have trouble reading the blitz. And avoid the penalties. 13 penalties per game for the Calgary Stampeders. Worst in the league. And you saw Wally Bono already in this game talking to the officials, so he's trying to get them on his side early.
Yeah, and it doesn't often work, but
No.
you might as well try, I suppose. Here's the kickoff from Anderson. Dropping to Anderson inside the 20. This is Kelvin Anderson looking for some room far side, and he's at about the 37-yard line.
Well,
So that was not a good throw by Dickinson.
No, and he's got to come and bounce back from that. But, you know, he comes out there with confidence right now knowing that his defense bailed him out. You talked about it could have been worse, and you're right. And a sudden change like that with the interception to Dave Dickinson, a major is really what should come out of that. That BC Lions were held to just 3 points. Here's the interception. Calvin Anderson leaks out of the backfield. Just a poor throw over the head of Calvin Anderson, and David Benefield's right there. Now, defense bailed Dave Dickinson out. He has a chance to bounce back from it right now.
Stampeders 1st and 10 from the 37. Lions lead by 3. Kelvin Anderson, tough running inside. He's across the 40 to about the 41. Gain looks to be about 4 yards.
The defense here in BC have been working pretty hard the last couple of weeks, and they really have got a bit of a tongue lashing from the defensive coordinator and from Greg Mons. Defensively, the BC Lions haven't been playing real well the last couple of weeks. And they feel like if they want to be real contenders for this year's Grey Cup, they got to step it up.
2nd and 6. Dickinson looks to put it up, and he missed the target again. Travis Moore, number 83. So 2 and out for the Stampeders. Dickinson just a little off the mark.
You know, John, that's the second ball he's thrown over the head of a receiver. One cost him an interception to Kelvin Anderson, and then this one. And sometimes when you're injured, and it doesn't have to be your throwing arm where the injury is, and we talked about Dave Dickinson's knee being injured and his off shoulder, it can change your throwing mechanics. You step into the pocket, maybe you don't step the same way as you used to. Something that Dave Dickinson has to work through here early in the game, because he is off the mark right now.
Martino inside his 30. And Cunningham waiting for the Lions. Inside his 25. Not as deep this time for Martino. Cunningham moves up. Well covered by Calgary's special teams. A 4-yard return after a 35-yard punt. So what do the Lions have to do to win?
Well, I think they have to get a good start, and they have to prove that they're the real deal. You know what? Everywhere I go in the league, people ask me, are the BC Lions for real? Well, if they win tonight, I think they can pretty much answer that question. don't beat themselves. They average 3 turnovers in their 3 losses. They don't have a whole lot of turnovers, but when they do turn over the ball, they lose the game and get pressure with just 4 guys. They don't want to blitz Dave Dickinson too often. He's pretty smart, and he can make you pay if you do.
On first down, Juan Johnson out across the 45, number 23. So he's had a couple of carries, playing in his 3rd game of 1999, and in the backfield with Drummond for the first time. Almost 1,000 yards, and that was in 15 games last year.
15 games and just 27 yards short of 1,000 yards, and he's a slashing type of runner. He likes to hit the hole quickly and then make his move, and he makes moves in phone booths in there. There wasn't a lot of room to dance.
Gain of 7, 2nd and 3 Lions. Ball right on the 45. And short of the first down. Gain looks like about a yard. Johnson again.
Well, maybe short, but it may be close enough for Greg Mons to make a decision here as to whether or not he might want to gamble, and I don't think he's going to take any chances this early in the ball game.
I wouldn't think so right here. It's a 2-yard gamble at this point in time, and they can pin Calgary deep with a good punt here.
Yeah, you want to keep that field position battle on your side, and Greg Mons will play the safe call and punt this one away, try to angle it to the sideline, because Marvin Coleman has been having a bit of a year returning kicks as well.
Coleman standing back near his 20. Lou Pasaglia at his 30-yard line. And Lou angles it to the near sideline. Coleman has a play and a little room. But the Lions recover and handle it well. 10 on the return, 45 on the punt. It's CFL Live from Vancouver, and the Lions lead it 3-0. Biggest game of the season at BC Place in Vancouver. The Lions and the Stamps battling for first. Let's bring in Farhan.
Thanks, John. You know, the people are still filing in here at BC Place Stadium. They're expecting their biggest crowd of the year, well over 27,000. That'll be the biggest crowd here at BC Place since 1995. Of course, they're all hoping the Lions will take a step closer to a home playoff dead. You know, they haven't played here at home since 1987 in the postseason. And speaking of 1987, wasn't Glenn Suter in his prime back then?
I think he was.
Well, big crowd. I mean, if you're a football fan in this city, you want to be at this game. No question about it. I mean, this is the showdown. This is for bragging rights, at least for a week.
Second down and a couple to go for the Calgary Stampeders. Dickinson looks to the far side, and he has Alan Pitts with enough for the first down.
Well, the BC Lions really aren't going to do anything special for Alan Pitts. They feel like with their halfbacks and Dale Joseph and Reggie Carthon, they feel like they can hold their own against Alan Pitts. Of course, Alan Pitts this year became the all-time leading receiver in CFL history, and he's very close to having one more 1,000-yard season on his resume.
First down for the Stampeders. Out across the 40 at the 42 now. Dickinson keeps it on the ground, and Anderson has about 4. Kelvin Anderson averaging 4.9 yards a carry.
Well, it's key to have Kelvin Anderson. Every time we do a Calgary Stampeder football game, Kelvin Anderson has to get the football. 8 wins this year. He averages 17 carries and 90 yards, close to 100 a game when they win. 3 losses, it drops to 10 carries and just 33 yards. That pretty much tells the story. Much like the Mike Saunders situation in Saskatchewan last night, Kelvin Anderson is the key to this offense.
Flags are down. Intercepted again. Raphael Robinson stepped in front of that toss intended for Danielson. Now the question is, which way is the penalty going?
Flags on the sideline, either procedure or offside is likely the call. Lions went with the blitz. Boy, they have been happy with the play of Raphael Robinson.
Leading tackler on the BC Lions.
Offside. BC number 72. Repeat second down.
Stampeders get a break.
Yeah, Big Johnny Scott jumped offside, no question about it. I mean, they had to call it. He's right in here. Watch Johnny Scott jump up and then come back. See, he jumps into the neutral zone, doesn't get back in time. If you get back before the snap of the ball and you haven't touched anybody, they won't call it.
2nd and 1 for the Stampeders. Free play here, but Anderson takes it across the line of scrimmage and has 3, plenty for the first down.
A couple little mistakes here in the game make a difference. I mean, that's a Raphael Robinson interception that's going the other way, and another turnover against Wally Buono. Instead, penalty by Johnny Scott. They keep the football and now have a first down, and the drive is continuing, or they do have the first down.
Robinson with a couple of interceptions against the Stampeders this year, and 4 in total. Dickinson unloaded in a hurry, and he was right on target for Vince Danielson. His first catch of the game, and that'll be a Calgary first down. So this drive looking a lot better for the Stampeders.
Well, I just got to make sure I saw this right. I think that's Dave Chaters, and I think Dave Chaters is going to drop. I mean, just check this out. Big Dave Chaters, 1 step and then drops right down in the middle, and then the ref gets in his way like he tackles the referee. See, Dave Chaters not used to dropping. He's used to going after quarterbacks.
Benefield made the tackle on Danielson. First down, Stampeders. Anderson swinging out of the backfield. Good move to get the first down after it looked like he should have been stopped by Dale Joseph. 14 yards for Anderson.
Yeah, Dale Joseph tries to break up there, and what he wants to do is try and buy some time, because good running backs will make the first guy miss in the open field no matter how good a tackler they are.
This drive began back at the 29. This is the 8th play. Dickinson, time and a target far side. Catch was made, but Lacoste made the tackle almost immediately on Anderson.
Well, he closed in a hurry. It was his man out of the backfield. The BC Lions playing all man-to-man, but he really closed down in a hurry. Paul Lacoste is going to be the BC Lions nominee for Rookie of the Year. Watch how quickly he makes up this ground when the ball's in the air. Break down in there, and then get Kelvin Anderson on the ground. For a long time, they've been looking for a middle linebacker, and they finally found one. This will be their nominee this year for the rookie.
I don't think there's any question about that. 4 receivers near side on 2nd and 8. Into traffic. And Dickinson connects one more time to keep this drive rolling along. Alan Pitts.
This is what's great about the experience of Alan Pitts, because he's going to see that he's got man coverage, but the man has got some help. See, he sees that there's a safety in the middle, and Reggie Carthen, he has to stop short of getting into the extra defensive backs area. And look what he does when he gets 100 yards. The Stamps win 51-9, and he's had 60 of them.
First down, Calgary at the 15. Dickinson has to get out, looks to the end zone. There's the touchdown toss. Dave Dickinson has Travis Moore, and the Stampeders drive very effectively from their own 29 for the touchdown.
Raphael Robinson, the safety, didn't continue to get depth, and Dave Dickinson recognized it. You see, he's looking up the field, and late in the play, Travis Moore opens up. You see number 22 turning back there on the letter? He's way shallow, and there's no help in the middle of the field for Dale Joseph. Travis Moore takes advantage of him, and Travis Moore is on pace for a 1,200-yard season, his best as a Stampeder.
3 catches, 60 yards last week, and Greg Mons had an early lead, but he's watched that evaporate. Stampeders lead the Lions 7-3 now with 2:58 to go in the opening quarter. So Buono's Calgary Stampeders looking sharp on that drive. Travis Moore has his 7th touchdown of the season, and the Calgary Stampeders are out in front of the BC Lions.
He runs a straight post pattern. Dale Joseph expecting help from Raphael Robinson deep in the middle, and number 22's caught way up. See him by the goal post. That's just too much ground for Dale Joseph to cover. And a smart quarterback like Dave Dickinson is going to recognize that, and of course he's going to dump it out there. He couldn't wait to release that one.
Dickinson had to make a play, though. He had to move up and Clear a little traffic from in front of him. Jimmy Cunningham. Lions could really use a big return, and he almost got away. If Coleman doesn't make the tackle there, he's around the corner and gone, I think.
You know what's great about it is that these are the two return guys. And Marvin Coleman is also on the kickoff cover team, but it's the two return guys going head to head, and you're absolutely right. If the Jet gets outside number 17, he's clear for takeoff. But Coleman pulls him down with a shoestring tackle.
Solid play on special teams by Marvin Coleman.
He took out the landing gear.
Absolutely right. Alfred Jackson, Eddie Brown, the wide receivers for the BC Lions. Trailing by 4. Lions 1st and 10 at the 30. Little play action fake by Allen. And he looks deep for Drummond. Drummond can't quite catch up to it, but there's a flag at the 30.
No question. And we talked about, John, the matchups. How will they use Juan Johnson and Robert Drummond in the same backfield? Well, this is what they're trying to get. They're trying to get Robert Drummond, who they line up as a wide receiver, one-on-one on Kevin Johnson, the linebacker. You see Drummond's well in behind him, and Johnson, you know what, if there's a good penalty, if there's any such thing as a good penalty, that's a good penalty, because Robert Drummond is in the end zone if he's not interfered with.
Johnson, he had to do something.
Well in behind him, John, and he had to pull him down.
Net advantage for the Lions, 47 yards. BC set up inside the 35 of the Calgary Stampeders. Allen had nowhere to go, lost the ball. Stampeders get it. Right back to the Calgary Stampeders. Couple of fumbles by Damon Allen lately. One cost them the game last week.
It really did against Montreal. He fumbled. He wasn't even touched, and that ball was kicked into the end zone against Montreal for the touchdown. This is the same situation. All the Calgary Stampeders defenders up on the line, and I think what he wanted to do was just to get away from it, get it down on the ground, because he didn't have the proper play called. When he put it down, he wasn't touched, so it's still a fumble. That's a good call by the official. Calgary football.
Greg Frere's coming up with it. And a turnover against the BC Lions sets Calgary up with a 1st and 10 at the Stampeder 38. Dickinson had a hot hand in the last drive, won't get away this time. David Benefield, number 56, had him wrapped up.
Working on Ron Meyer, and David Benefield uses quickness around the corner. Oh, watch David Benefield. He's going to come around this corner in a hurry. And Robert Myers, you might as well buy a ticket here. He just bought a ticket for this one, because he goes around the corner, and Dave Dickinson has no chance.
Four-yard loss. Make it a 5-yard loss. 2nd and 15. Shotgun for Dickinson. Here's the hit. Oh, he was hammered by Benefield. And that ball sailed well over Alan Pitt's head.
Oh, man. He got up. He is getting up. Holy smoke. Well, there was some contact on Alan Pitts down the field by Reggie Cartheron, but that ball was way overthrown, so it was a good no call by the official. Not a catchable pass, but David Benefield smacks Dave Dickinson as he throws his football. Here's Benefield, number 56, hitting right up the middle. Now watch the hit. Wham, that's right under the shoulder. Those hurt. Won't hurt till tomorrow, but it hurts.
Cunningham is ready. Martino. Jimmy the Jet beginning at the 30. Stampeders have covered him well so far tonight. 47-yard punt. Nothing on the return. Damon Allen gets another crack at it when we return. Stadium at BC Place, 1st down for Damon Allen, and he fired that well over the head of Eddie Brown. Brown played for the Stampeders for a brief period in 1990. And downtown has made a few journeys around Canadian football.
Well, he's the leading receiver right now for the BC Lions, and if you project what he'll finish with, it'll be just under 1,000 yards. In fact, Damon Allen won't have a 1,000-yard receiver in that group, and that is a very impressive group with Alfred Jackson, Rod Harris, and Don Blair. But you project those numbers, there won't be one in the 1,000-yard mark, and Damon Allen projected numbers is going to be over 4,000 yards throwing the football.
Well, he's got to spread it around. Here's 2nd and 10. Allen pumps once, sends it deep, looking for Cunningham, number 21, and he couldn't escape tight coverage on the far side. And of quarter number 1, with the Lions trailing the Stampeders by 4.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by 1-800-HI-IT'S-ME. It's the cheapest way to call. Collect.
Hi again, everybody, and welcome back to our CFL Live Control Studio. Rod Smith back with Chris Schultz. For Dave Dickenson, not a bad first quarter, although certainly not very good the way it started off for him, Chris.
You know what, I thought Dave Dickenson has really struggled early in the game, and I'll give you some great examples as to why. Number one is they're really only rushing 3 people. 1, 2, 3. That means you have 9 people within the pattern to really set back and read Dickenson. Here he takes the football. He has nobody open. He has only one alternative, and that's to run. And here he goes. Bang, bang, bang. A hit on the quarterback. Play number 2. 4 people rushing this time. Dickenson overthrows the receiver right into the hands of Benefield. First turnover a game. I think the fact is that if you pressure Dave Dickenson, he is at his best. If you play a little bit of a passive game, you may make him create some mistakes just by playing that little bit of extra patience, Rod. Good quarterback, but I think he's at his best when you pressure him.
Damon Allen fumbled last week. It cost the Lions a football game. It didn't cost him this time, but you have to wonder.
You know, the number one thing Damon Allen must do is he has to protect the football. All the great quarterbacks, they're aware of it, and they know it's a cheap turnover. It's almost a non-forced turnover. Second week in the row, he's let the ball get out of his hands while not even being tackled. That's a key issue tonight, Rod.
Another turnover, this one going in BC's favor. The Dickenson interception that he threw earlier in the game leading to a field goal by the Lions, but they trail at quarter time. Back to John Wells and Glenn Suter at BC Place.
First quarter stats brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard. What do you see there?
Well, this is what, you know, if I'm a BC Lion fan, I'm concerned about, because 4 attempts rushing the football for 20 yards in the first quarter, and this is a team that put together 8 wins this year by running the football. And they've already, rushing yards. I circled the passing yards.
Yeah,
but that'd be the rushing
I understand
yards
what
below
you're
it.
trying to say when you talk like that, but
Yeah.
you got to circle the 10.
I got to circle the 10, not the 20. But they're not running the football, and they got to go back to what brought them to this record, which is the run. I'll get it out. Now I've confused everyone completely.
And that was what we thought would be the game plan with both Drummond and Juan Johnson in the backfield. But on third down, Lupasaglia kicks to Coleman on the dead run. Marvin Coleman escaped one and gives the Stampeders decent field position with a 6-yard return. The Big Chill is back in Calgary after a tryout in Dallas. Top lineman last year in all of Canadian football.
Well, he really had a great year. Watch the block that he makes on Don Wilson in Edmonton. Look at this block. And when you make devastating blocks like that, and Childress did it all season for Calgary, you're going to end up on the podium, and that's where he did end up.
One of the reasons that Kelvin Anderson has 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons is number 68 back in a Stampeder uniform. From the shotgun, here's Anderson. Grabbed from behind. He got about 4 yards out to midfield. Herman Smith made the tackle.
Well, he's in charge of the backside or the cutback lane. What that means, if Kelvin Anderson decides to cut back to his left, Herman Smith has to be there, make sure he can take that away. Now, he did it that time, but he's also got to watch Dickenson on the bootleg.
2nd and 6. Here comes the heat for Dickenson. He got it away. And on the money. Stampeders with a big play here. Aubrey Cummings, number 87, inside the 25.
Well, it's a really good move, and I think Mike Crum is the guy who's going to slip on the play. He comes across the middle. And watch how Mike Crum in coverage. See, watch, he's going to stumble right here. And when he stumbles, he can't keep his feet. Travis Moore is off and running.
Big gain for Travis Moore, 33 yards. Calvin Anderson took a pretty good hit after about a 3-yard gain. Ran into Lacoste.
Well, so far, Paul Lacoste is really doing a nice job keeping Calvin Anderson in check on the run. He's really not having a whole lot of production on first down. That's his job. Tremendous run stopper from tackle to tackle. Paul Lacoste out of Mississippi State, and they're very happy with him. He's doing his job, getting him in second and long. Dickinson's just been able to convert it.
On 2nd and 7, they whistle the play down.
And Dickinson looked like he's back on track. We talked about his first couple of passes.
Illegal procedure. Calgary number 50. Repeat second down.
First couple of passes were well off the mark, but he is settled in now, and he's got it back on target.
After missing 5 weeks, this is Dickinson's 3rd straight start. Although he didn't finish last week's game.
Yeah, and he's spending as much time during the week in the training room getting attention to his injuries as he is on the practice field.
2nd and 12. From the 24, here's the heat, Benefield. And the toss is well over every Stampeder's head of the end zone. Dickinson really had to unload a little prematurely.
Yeah, he had to let it go. I mean, they were all coming up front. Full out blitz by the BC Lions, and second and long. Benefield was the guy who came free. Calgary couldn't block them all. Dickinson knew it. He's going to drop back now. Here comes Paul Lacoste, 58. Benefield's coming off the edge. They can't block him all, so Dickinson realizes he's the guy who, by throwing it early, has to block that open man. But there was no receiver down there to catch it.
Mark McLaughlin is in. Should be a chip shot for him. Hitting 82% of his field goal tries. And he is the leading scorer in Canadian football right now. No doubt about it, McLaughlin has his first of the night. Stampeders have a 7-point lead. It's CFL Live from BC Place.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by AT&T Canada, the network the world works on.
Wally Buono, couple of Grey Cups in 4 appearances as the head coach of the Calgary Stampeders, now in his 10th season.
Well, if he finishes first this year, it's 9 out of 10. Did I get that right?
No, 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10.
It's just a numbers thing, Glenn.
Well, that's still amazing. I mean, 8 out of 10 years he's finished in first place if he finishes this year. And the other 2, he was in second place.
It has been a wonderful run for Buono and the Stampeders, and a slow start for the BC Lions, but maybe Jimmy the Jet could ignite something here. Took a pretty good hit as he crossed the 35. 27 on the return.
Well, he hit his own guy. I believe he hit his own guy right in the back. He hits it up in there full bore. That throttle is buried, and it's his own man that goes down. It's Dave Donaldson trying to hold and maintain his block, and Cunningham hits him right in the middle of the back.
Time for Damon Allen to get things on track. The Lions' longest drive of the ball game so far has been 3 plays. Drummond gets the call.
Well, the one thing they have done, though, is they've gone deep a couple of times. Now, they haven't hooked up. One time there was an interference call when Robert Drummond went deep. They've tried to go deep a couple other times, haven't hooked it up. But what that should do is stretch the Calgary defense a little bit and open things up underneath. Now we see they're going back to the running game, something we mentioned before the commercials, that need to get Robert Drummond and Juan Johnson running the football again, something they did early in the year with Drummond and is part of their success.
Yeah, it's really quite remarkable. Last week, Drummond had 13 carries for just 57 yards, and they haven't established the run so far tonight. Allen has Drummond sliding out of the backfield, but there was a marker down prior to that. So we'll check out the infraction.
No, it's coming back.
Pretty good guess it would be from where the flag ended up on the field.
You know, little mistakes for the BC Lions so far in this game. Think about this. Raphael Robinson has an interception.
Illegal block, hands to the face. BC number 52. Repeat second down.
Raphael Robinson has an interception. It's called back on an offside by Johnny Scott. Damon Allen fumbles in scoring territory on the other drive, and now this penalty stops a first down. Just little things that are starting to add up in a hurry.
It would have been a 15-yard gain instead. Allen looks at 2nd and 20. Lions are back at the 26, and this offense struggled a bit last week. Allen has to find a way to get it moving tonight. Looking deep. And too far. Intended that for Sean Graham, number 88. So another 2-and-out situation for the Lions. What's going on?
Well, another chance. Damon Allen wants to throw the football deep again. This is like the 5th time already in this game, and we're just midway through the second quarter, that he's thrown it way down the field and hasn't really been close. The only one that he was close, he got the interference call, but other than that, he's just missing on the long ball. Now he's got to come back to the regular game plan.
He overthrew several receivers last week in Montreal as well. Coleman awaits this from Lou Pasaglia. Flags are already down. Coleman has about 5 on the return. 4 on the return, 44 on the punt. It's Dave Dickinson's turn once more. The Stampeders on top by a touchdown.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old Canadian whiskey.
Stadium at BC Place since 1991. The QB crop from Calgary has included the top 2 guys there who also played in BC. Barrett to Flutie to Garcia.
Wow, Wally Buono has done a great job of bringing along the next quarterback. He's always thinking about not the one that he has, but the next one. And they've done it with 3 different quarterbacks and are 8-3 this year.
Dickinson and Anderson sliding out. Forced out by Eric Carter.
You know, and what Wally Buono has done with this offense is he's made it a great system, and a system that any quarterback can be plugged. Well, I shouldn't say any quarterback. I mean, they've all been great ones, but he plugs in his quarterbacks, and they're surrounded with talent.
Now, T.J. Rubley doesn't quite fit into this mold.
No.
Gain of 3, 2nd and 7. They got him again. 2nd sack of the game by the BC Lions. Lions 7th in the league in sacks coming in, but they've gotten to Dave Dickinson twice. Herman Smith was there that time.
Yeah, Noah Cantor was also back there. Herman Smith gets a good takeoff off the snap of the ball. Here's Herman Smith right here. He's going to get off the ball in a hurry. Good takeoff. He reads the snap count. You see how he's got Rocco Romano and Fred Childress out of position, comes around the corner and is right there. And Noah Cantor got a good push up the middle, so Dave Dickinson had nowhere to escape.
Dickinson has now been sacked 22 times.
And taken about 100 hits.
Cunningham is back. Just about perfect timing for a big return for Jimmy the Jet. Martino gets it high. Flags are down early, and here comes the Jet. He'll go. Jimmy Cunningham.
Coming back.
75 yards, but
coming back. It's coming back. That tells it all right there. That reaction to Greg Mons right there. It's coming back. Jason Kralt.
No touchdown. We'll check out the infraction when we return. The Jet took it 75 yards, but then they took it all the way back.
Rule number 1, look right here. Never, when you see the name tag right there, never block the guy. You see his name tag, get your hands off him, and Jason Krolt pushes Andre Arlane right in the middle of the back, right in front of the official.
So it cost the Lions a 75-yard touchdown. First down, BC. Jackson makes his first catch of the night and lost the ball. Stampeders may get it right back. It would have been an 8-yard gain, and Calgary has another BC fumble. Couple of fumbles, couple of sacks.
Well, Greg Mons is, you look at him, I mean, and he has a reason to be mad. I mean, this is mistake after mistake, and right now everyone for the BC Lions is taking their turns. Alfred Jackson just doesn't control the football. He doesn't protect the football when he's going to go down and get hit. It comes loose. It wasn't really even stripped.
Rookie Kevin Johnson comes up with a loose ball.
Well,
number 44.
Every time the BC Lions get something going, they shoot themselves in the foot. Now it's a chance for Calgary to capitalize.
Stampeders are set up at the Lion 32. Dickinson, all kinds of time looking for Dowdell, and Marcus Dowdell couldn't run underneath that. He's been hot lately. Big catch last week to give the Stampeders an opportunity to come back against the Argonauts with 58-yard reception. That set up the winning touchdown.
Well, he's playing his best football as a Calgary Stampeder, and it's another guy that is sort of put into the system here in Calgary, and just is asked to do what is told to do in the system. If he stays with it, it works like a machine.
2nd and 10. This will go for another Stampeder first down and more. Kelvin Anderson gets inside the 10, 25 yards, and the Lions are coming apart at the seams right now.
David Benefield gets caught looking in the backfield. Kelvin Anderson is his man, and when you got your man-in-man coverage, you got to keep your eye on him. Here's Kelvin Anderson, David Benefield. See, he's going to cut across, and watch Benefield's eyes. He's looking back at Dickinson. See, he's going to look at Dickinson right here, take his eyes off the running back and hesitate. That opens up Kelvin Anderson. That's why he's down there in scoring range.
I don't know if the Lions are a little tight about this one with first place on the line, but they're not playing very well thus far. Kelvin Anderson has the touchdown. 7 yards, and Kelvin Anderson converts on the turnover by the BC Lions. A couple of flags down in the end zone, but that's well after the touchdown was scored.
Yeah, that's frustration by the BC Lions. Well, it's a great individual effort by Kelvin Anderson because he really makes people miss. He freezes tacklers in the open field. So Kelvin Anderson hits the hole. Dave Chaders misses him. Look at that. Raphael Robinson has a crack at him. Bo Lewis can't bring him down. That's good open field running.
It really was, and it was all Kelvin Anderson.
Major foul, face mask, BC 26, applied on the kickoff.
That's Reggie Carthon. So the Lions are obviously frustrated, and I guess they should be the way they played in the opening half. The offense really hasn't been able to drive the football at all, and the turnovers have been costly. The last one cost a touchdown.
To be a fly on the wall in the BC Lion dressing room at halftime. The flies are going to get yelled at.
I think you're right. Mark McLaughlin adds to the Calgary total. So far, a little frustrating for the BC Lions, who came in fired up. But Kelvin Anderson has another Calgary touchdown, and the Stamps are on top 17-3. Kelvin Anderson gives the Stampeders a 2-touchdown lead.
Little draw action freezes the defensive end David Benefield because he has to respect Dickinson, so that takes him out of the play, and then Kelvin Anderson does the rest on his own.
Nice little sidestep to get the play moving. 3 plays after the turnover, 32 yards the distance. It didn't take long either, a minute 36. Anderson did most of it himself, the 25-yard catch and the 7-yard run for the touchdown.
Well, right now the Calgary Stampeders are just taking advantage of BC Lion mistakes. There's no question about that. The Lions just keep self-destructing, and Calgary is just thanking them very much and putting it in the end zone and building on their lead.
Cunningham had a great return earlier. It was called back. He's out near the 32 this time. Wrapped up there by Cameron Legault. So Damon Allen is due.
Can the BC Lions now sort of fight through adversity? And they faced a bunch so far in this game.
Allen 3 of 7 for 28 yards. He also fumbled once. And the turnover gave the Stampeders an opportunity. At the 32, first down BC. Robert Drummond is most of the way toward a first down. Traversy made the tackle.
And this is what you do when you're struggling offensively, is you go back to the basics. And this is the basics for the BC Lions. When you look up the basics in the playbook for BC, you see a big number 29 sitting there. And that's what you do. You just hand him the football. You settle things down. You look to your veterans. And that's what Joe Pauw is looking to right now. Look to your veterans. Damon Allen, Robert Drummond. Let's settle the troops down. Stop making these mistakes and stop self-destructing.
On 2nd and 1, Allen has the first down easily. Robert Drummond right up there with the best in Canadian football most of the time. Just behind Mike Pringle, and Drummond has had some injury timeout time too, although Pringle has as well. Pringle over 1,000.
And Drummond in the last couple of weeks with Juan Johnson back in the lineup, his carries have dropped a little bit, so he's not seeing the football quite as much.
Drummond with 1,098 yards from scrimmage as well as that rushing total. This is Juan Johnson, and this is a big hole for the BC Lions. Inside the 45-yard line, and Johnson very quick. 22 yards.
What the Calgary Stampeders defensively want to do is try and blitz and take all the gaps. See safety Greg Frere's up in there. He's going to come up and try and blitz. It's a blitz designed to stop the run, but they forget about just one gap. See how they all overrun the one gap? Now the alley is there for Juan Johnson to take off, and then it's just a race. Coleman comes from the corner to save the touchdown. Mike Roach wants to blitz a little bit on first down to stop the run. That time he left the gap open.
On first down, Allen missed his target. It was Juan Johnson. Had been a little confusion between receiver and quarterback there, but Allen was well off the mark.
Yeah, but you know, I think Damon Allen, and Joe Pauw knows that he did. I think Damon Allen, he saw Shad Chris over there breaking on the football, and just before he released it, he just threw it up high and out of bounds. You know, that's 3 for 8, and those other 5 were deep balls. I'm talking about 60-yard passes.
You're right. 2nd and 10. Lions at the Stampeder 44. 4:53 to go till halftime. Lions need a touchdown. They trail by 2. Allen steps up. And he has Don Blair. Allen makes a big-time play, no question about it. Oh, waited and timed it perfectly. It was not exactly in the playbook that way, but Blair makes the catch. Allen really does a great job here.
He has no room to escape. Look at how he gets up into that little seam, keeps his composure, and then Blair opens up late. I mean, this is great composure from the veteran Damon Allen, because at any time here, a young quarterback puts it under his arm and starts running with it. But Allen kept his head up, kept looking down the field, and found Don Blair.
Easily the best drive of the night for the Lions. Juan Johnson going nowhere, wrapped up by Steve Anderson, 92.
Yeah, he beats the block at the point of attack. Steve Anderson comes in there low and takes on the pulling guard, Steve Harden, real quickly. Now, see Steve Harden, 61, come around the corner. See Anderson beat him to the spot, got underneath the block, and was in the backfield.
Anderson with 4 sacks coming into this game. Second and 11. Allen needs another big-time play here. Might get it. Oh! He just missed Rod Harris. Well, it was there, wasn't it?
It was there. It was 0 for 6, and Allen made the right read. He had the right receiver picked out, and he just didn't complete the pass. Again, Calgary coming with pressure. We talked about, see Greg Frere's up in there again, number 12, coming with the safety blitz. Damon Allen reads it. He throws it out there. He's got the right receiver who's wide open by 4 or 5 yards, and they can't hook up. They are now 0 for 6 in the deep ball category.
34-yard field goal try as Allen has to settle for a Lupasaglia attempt from there. Kahari Jones is holding. Lupasaglia is wide. Stampeders will be happy to give up a single and take a little time off the clock here. So Louis has struggled a little bit. Talked about him being 1 for 4 last week.
And missed his last 3 field goals. And you know, Louis Pasaglia got hit in the Montreal game. And he is healthy right now, healthy enough to play. But the pain that he went through was part of the reason he missed those field goals last week.
Timeout at the stadium at BC Place. Another Lions drive stalls. BC settles for a point at CFL Live. Calgary on top, 17-4. All the Ryder Cup highlights on Sports Desk when we're done here. Jesper Parnevik at it again at the Ryder Cup today. This for the bird. An eagle the other day. This a birdie.
I love this, though. Watch Parnevik go this way. He wants to get the congratulations from Garcia, but Garcia's going to the look. He misses them. Garcia goes to the fans to celebrate, then has to come back. Parnevik just wants to get the big hug going.
Yeah, golfers can't hug like football players, can they? Kelvin Anderson on first down for the Calgary Stampeders. And Benefield was there. So, Gino and David will have everything that's gone on in the world of sports coming up when we're done. 2 o'clock Eastern, 11 o'clock Pacific. The Ryder Cup highlights, the pennant races. And how about those Tiger Cats?
Yeah.
Big win over the Alouettes today. So that's all coming your way when we're done in BC tonight. Second down for the Stampeders. Right on the money. Travis Moore, number 83, takes the pass from Dave Dickinson.
Travis Moore works into the middle of the field. He's up here. He's going to come down in front of Dale Joseph, work into the middle of the field, in front of Joseph. See how deep Dale Joseph is? He breaks into the middle. And then it's one-on-one in the open field. Travis Moore's having himself a pretty good night.
Not a bad night at all. 72 yards for Moore so far. And a touchdown. Markers are down. Oh, my gosh, what a hit there. The ball came loose, but there was no fumble on the play.
Bo Lewis on Alan Pitts. Wow, and that, you know, David Benefield, I believe, was offside. So it's going to end up being 1st and 5 for Calgary, but Alan Pitts has to work through the headache right now. See, he's working his neck, make sure that's okay.
Offside, BC 56, still first down.
Benefield offside, as Glenn said, and here's the hit on Alan Pitts.
Little underrope from Alan Pitts. Here comes the ball, and here comes the truck. That's helmet to helmet. Pitts went down hard. There's been some big ones here tonight.
Stampeders looking at 1st and 5, 2:08 till halftime. Dickinson has time, near side, he's got Dowdell. That'll be another Calgary first down. Lions really have to get together here. 26 yards or make that 16 yards.
Well, again, they get big plays like one from Bo Lewis. He gets a huge hit that would really get his team pumped up. Right there, you get another look at it. I mean, that's major league when you're talking about the hit department. And then he gets his team pumped up only to find out that they've got an offside penalty. They're in 1st and 5 situation. Every time they've done something positive, it's come back and hurt them with the negative play.
Stampeders now at the Lions 31, 1st down, Dickinson. Markers are down, so is Dickinson. Scott was there, so was Herman Smith.
Holding, Calgary number 63, penalties declined, second down.
3rd sack by the Lions.
Nothing fancy about this. This is just Johnny Scott and Herman Smith saying, let's put on our bull rush move and go straight down the field. See, they're just going to just plow their way. See, here comes Johnny Scott, and it's a meeting at Dave Dickinson. He has nowhere to go with the football. The defensive line in BC is playing pretty well tonight. They're getting after it, making some mistakes in the secondary.
2nd and 20 at the 41. Dickinson has Anderson out of the backfield. Anderson, good move. He's around Benefield and turns it into a first down. But a marker near the 40.
I think, John, they're going to get holding on Jamie Crysdale on Paul Lacoste right at the point of attack. He's got up limping as well. Crysdale is the guy who comes out, and his job is to block the middle linebacker on the play. Lacoste was breaking out to the outside. He couldn't get free from Crysdale. You're going to see it develop. See, here comes the screen pass now right there. That is the block. Crysdale's gone. Paul Lacoste, you see how he's got his jersey?
Calgary 67. Repeat second down.
He pulls him down. There's the holding call, and they'll have to do it all over again.
2nd and 30 facing Dickinson now.
Well, Dickinson's disappointed with the holding. He knows it right away, but I think if he doesn't hold Paul Lacoste makes the tackle anyway.
Stampeders lead at 17-4. One thing the Lions have done on this drive is force them out of field goal range. And on second, and a whole bunch right now, the Lions can get the ball back. Stampeders get a little back. Dickinson got hammered. Danielson made the catch, but it's 3rd down.
One more hit against Dave Dickinson. This one from Noah Cantor. Noah Cantor has really played well. He replaced Dave Chaders last week versus Montreal, and talking to head coach Greg Mons about Noah Cantor, he says he may be the best backup in the league right now and likely should start on a lot of teams, or would start on a lot of teams.
He got a chance to play for Chaders last week and acquitted himself well. So here's what the Lions have done. At least they have forced Calgary out of field goal range.
And they have time to put a drive together and maybe come away with some points before the end of the half.
Cunningham waits near his 5. Had a great 75-yard return called back. Martino puts it down near the 5-yard line. Cunningham had nowhere to go. It was well covered by the Stampeders special teams. 5 on the return, 40 on the punt, 44 to go in the opening half. Adidas Friday Night Football a week from last night. Hamilton at Calgary.
Now let me think back to last year. That's a bit of a rematch, isn't it?
I think they met.
Yeah.
In fact, they did at the Grey Cup. Stamps won by 3 on a last play field goal by Mark McLaughlin. So a little something at stake there. And the Ticats came away with a big win over the Alouettes today, 39-13.
Was a big win. That's Jason Clement going off, special teams player, backup linebacker, limping off the field.
Well, all these guys were ready tonight from the outset, weren't they?
Well, they've really capitalized on BC errors, and that's, I don't think they've played real great football. They just had it handed to them a bunch of times.
Yeah, I guess that's a better way to put it. Although they found the end zone a couple of times. Damon Allen has yet to get there. And Robert Drummond has very little on that. 3 yards maybe.
Yeah, that D-line in Calgary shut the door there. They've seen this play a couple of times in the playbook now. They just shut the door.
Stampeders defense is steady and not really spectacular.
Well, that's what they are. They're very safe defense. They play a lot of man with the free safety in the middle, and they play a lot of zone coverage. Mike Roach likes to do that. He'll blitz the safety occasionally in Greg Frères, but he likes to be fundamentally sound. And Mike Roach is a guy that when you throw your defense on the field, you're not going to beat him deep very often, which is why I've been surprised the BC Lions have gone deep so many times, because a Mike Roach defense will not give you many of those.
You're going against 2 pretty good corners, and William Hampton having a terrific season, and Marvin Coleman. Jackie Kellogg at one halfback spot. Lots of interceptions back there. Kellogg has 5, Hampton has 5, and Coleman, not very many people go near him. This will work for Don Blair. First down for the Lions with 34 seconds till halftime. Blair makes 22 yards.
They can get about 6-7 plays in 34 seconds if they're crisp, and they haven't been crisp offensively all half, but if they can get 3 or 4, 5 plays in here, they can get in the first down and maybe kick a field goal, get a little momentum.
From the 35, first down for the Lions. Allen stands in, looking deep for Blair. Got one hand on it, that's all. Hampton was covering, so was Shadwick Chris, number 28.
Yeah, that would have been an unbelievable catch by Don Blair on the sideline. It was thrown to the outside. He had pretty good coverage. William Hampton trying to get underneath and help out Shad Chris, who was closing from the top. See, 28 high, William Hampton low. I think even if Don Blair dove for that one, caught it with 2 hands in the end zone, he was going to take himself out of bounds.
Closing in on 500. Don Blair, the Eskimo last year, turned Lion this season. Allen on 2nd and 10. Has Harris well short. First catch for Harris. 22 seconds till halftime.
I think Greg Mons is going to gamble here. I mean, he's looking at 3rd and 3 or 4, and I think he was yelling to send his offense back on the field, and now he's changing his mind again.
I don't think that would be a terrific call overall. You're looking at 3rd and 4.
No way.
You give them back the football, they're one play away from kicking a field goal.
Yeah, no, you got to kick this one away. There's no question. It's probably the situation where Greg Mons is on the sideline. He's not sure how far he has to go. He waits for the spotters upstairs to tell him to make sure. Says, no, we're 3 or 4 yards. And he says, okay, yeah, let's put the punt team back on, because you're absolutely right. They don't get the first down, and Calgary almost can kick a field goal from where they are right now.
Louis is taking as much time off the clock as he can, but he'll have to put it up. And that'll give Coleman one chance. Coleman almost got away, and a marker goes down.
Well, the marker means that they may have to do one more play.
Can't end the half with a penalty marker down, or at least with a penalty being called. If it's declined, it's okay.
I think both teams will get in the locker room right now. The Calgary Stampeders sitting on the lead.
Holding. Calgary number 21 is declined.
They'd be happy to get in there and get that lead. BC Lions want to go and regroup.
I think the Lions really have to regroup. It wasn't a very good half for Greg Mons and the Lions, trailing 17-4 to the Calgary Stampeders in this showdown for first.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the half. Brought to you by Canadian Airlines, a member of One World.
Welcome back. Rod Smith, Chris Schultz at our CFL Live Control Studio. This year so far, Chris, the BC Lions have not lost back-to-back games. They have not lost to the Calgary Stampeders. They, in fact, have not lost to any team in the CFL West, but all those trends are going to come to an end unless they stop shooting themselves in the foot.
You know, the BC Lions right now are playing the same type of uninspired football at home that they did in the month of July. They're not really identifying a single player to carry the load on offense. Damon Allen has turned the ball over on a non-contact type of play, and it's 2 and out, 2 and out, 2 and out. I go to the Jimmy Jet punt return, all the way for a touchdown. What happens? Penalty on the BC Lions. The same systematic form of self-destruction is haunting this team that did earlier, and it's happening at home. And that's the one thing I can't figure out, Rod. They should be better at home.
Well, from Dave Dickinson, we saw some points of concern, I suppose, earlier in the game, you know, coming off that knee injury and throwing the ball high, but you saw something you liked later on in that.
Well, finally, Dave Dickinson gets the matchup that he wants, and this is so important for his ability to lead this football team. Number one, you have Calvin Anderson on Dwayne Benefield, and there are no other backs in this system. This is what he wants on the football field, and right now, Dave Benefield hesitates for a moment, That creates the separation. Calvin Anderson picks up the football. And in most respects, this has been the best offensive play I've seen from Dave Dickinson. He's a quality quarterback, and I think he's at his best when he's under stress in an open backfield. The BC Lions defensive line has done a great job of pressuring him with only 4 people, in some instances 3, but that was the best play he had in the entire first half, Rod.
Well, you're right. The Lions have had, great plays in this game. The Cunningham return for the touchdown, but all for naught. That would really has killed BC so far in this game. Calvin Anderson, well, great night so far. He's the CFL's leader in combined yardage, and this a winning combination so far. 17-4 at the half for Calgary. Here's what's happened so far in Week 12 in the Canadian Football League. Last night, despite a great game by Mike Saunders, it was his fumble that led to a Winnipeg touchdown, and the Bombers improving to 3-9, tied with Saskatchewan in the overall standings. And Montreal, well, they can't make it a clean sweep over the Tiger Cats, who looked great this afternoon at Ivor, win 39-13. Danny McManus, a couple of touchdown passes in that one. Paulus Ballaston, 6 for 6 in the field goal department. So the Ticats keep their hopes of chasing Montreal alive. Boy, for Danny McManus and the Cats, at this time of year, Chris, very impressive win. And I think the key point is what you said, this time of year. This is the point in the season, this last week in September, that every team needs a leadership, and not verbal, production. And right now, Danny McManus has strung together 3 really good games. This one, the victory over Montreal. The last one, 65 points against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. In the previous game, even though they lost in Montreal, statistically, Danny McManus was on fire. Every team needs a single player to emerge, and if it's your quarterback, that's the best case scenario, and it couldn't come at a better time for the Hamilton Ticats, because remember, McManus was struggling early in the season, a little doubts here and there, but I tell you what, Rod, he's turned it on at the right time of the year. You talk about the timing. Guess where they play next? They're off to McMahon Stadium, and that's how we'll begin Week 13 in the CFL. It's on our air, a rematch of the 1998 Grey Cup game, the Ticats and the Stamps. And then CBC will have another good one, the Lions and the Argonauts at Skydome. That one on Saturday. Winnipeg will take on the Edmonton Eskimos Sunday. And we'll also have the Montreal Alouettes looking to rebound after this loss to Hamilton, taking on the Saskatchewan Roughriders. If you want a ticket for any of these games, here are the numbers to call. We'll be back with more CFL Live at the Half right after this. (17-4), the Stamps over the Lions at the half at BC Place. All week long, Wally Buono has had to hear about how one of his teams has not yet been able to beat a Greg Mons head coach BC Lion team. Well, I'm sure he'd be glad to get that one off his back. And here are some of Buono's comments to Farhan Lalji at the half.
Coach, a 13-point lead heading into halftime. Just some thoughts on the first half.
Well, it's been a good first half. We've had some breaks. They've had some breaks. And probably the thing that's killing us right now is just a few too many penalties.
You've got to be happy with the way your defense is playing.
Well, we're very happy with the way they're playing. But, again, they got a good offense, and there's a whole half to play.
Thanks a lot. Good luck in the second half.
The stats at the half show a better passing attack, certainly, for Dave Dickinson and the Calgary Stampeders. BC, meanwhile, just mistakes. They turn over the football more. Fortunately for them, it doesn't lead to any Calgary points in those 2 turnovers. The one for the Stampeders did, a field goal by Louis Pasaglia. But lots of mistakes in this game so far. And Chris, really, we talked about BC's, but I don't think the Stamps are totally innocent here either. They've been shooting themselves in the foot a bit.
Not at all. You know, when you looked at this football game, the one thing that really takes away from the entertainment value are the penalties. And I look at the penalty to Jason Crawled on the kick return. I look at the penalty to Jamie Crysdale holding in space on a linebacker where it's so obvious to be seen. You know, the worst thing you can tell an offensive lineman, well, it's okay to hold if you don't get caught. Well, you can't do that because they always happen at the most critical times. You got to tell your players, don't hold at any opportunity, because you know what that means? You can't do the job. Jamie Crysdale is a great center, but why he would hold in space on a significant play is beyond me. The penalties are killing both of these teams, and it's not professional at this point in the season.
Well, certainly that, the penalties, the mistakes overall for the BC Lions, a big reason why they are down at the half, heading out for the third quarter and ready for that, but trailing 17-4. One of the mistakes right here, Alfred Jackson on the catch, turns over the football. Lions have some work to do. We'll be back.
Disappointing first half for Damon Allen and the Lions in front of their best crowd of the season. Here's Farhan Lalji.
Well, Coach, tell us what you said to the guys at halftime. Remember, it's a family show.
Well, I just said that we got to start coming back and, you know, play through adverse moments, and we've done it before. We just got to come back and take the ball on this opening kickoff, take it down, score, get back in the ball game. You know, we've shot ourselves in the foot a couple times, and I think our defense has been playing great. We're getting great pressure on the quarterback, and, you know, we've had a couple turnovers. We dropped the ball offensively a couple times, and that's been the difference.
Thanks, Coach. Good luck in the second half. All right, guys.
Too many mistakes.
Yeah, man, they've had a bunch. They have had a bunch. Look at that. 5 punts. In those punt situations, that's 2 and out. So your defense is left on the field way too long. You see the turnovers, and they've had penalties at the wrong time. Raphael Robinson had an interception going the other way in Calgary's end. Johnny Scott was offside, so it was called back, and they've had a couple of fumbles that have cost them. So Greg Mons mentioned they're shooting themselves in the foot, and he was surprisingly controlled there.
I suppose he let it fly in the dressing room, however, because he wasn't very controlled watching a couple of the turnovers and costly errors by the BC Lions when he was on the sideline.
Yeah, but you're right, John. He probably went in there, he vented, he got it out of there, and he made the corrections, and now that half is behind them. They got a whole half of football to play.
Trailing by 13 points. So the Lions not out of this, but they really need something good to happen, and preferably right about now on this return. Second half underway. McLaughlin takes it deep. Here's Jimmy Cunningham out to about the 37-yard line. 17 on the return. 55 on the kickoff. A few BC Lion errors in review.
Yeah, this was the first half. Damon Allen fumble. He wasn't touched. Laid the ball on the ground. A clip right there by Jason Crow cost him the touchdown on the Jimmy the Jet return. And then Alfred Jackson took his turn fumbling the football. Calgary recovered and came away with points. That was the story of the first half for the BC Lions.
So let's see if they've corrected things. Lions beginning at the 37. First down, Allen shotgun. Has to get out of there. And he's stopped at the 35. Barely got anywhere. Johnson makes the tackle.
The play was designed to go to the short side of the field. That means from the hash mark on the short side. And when you don't have a receiver over there on the short side, if you don't have him automatically, like right away when you snap the football, he's not going to be there because there's not enough room for him to shake coverage. And that's why Damon Allen has to take off and run with the football. And Alondra Johnson rips his shoulder down and throws him on the ground.
Second and 10. Allen rifles that one in. Jackson makes the catch right in midfield. That's more like it.
Well, it was a good throw because Damon Allen stepped up and delivered a strike, and he didn't have a lot of room to get it in there. Alondra Johnson was the guy dropping. Watch number 51 drop this way. Now, he's got it under. He's looking at Jimmy the Jet crossing under right in front of him. So he holds a little shallow. The ball's thrown over his head and in front of Greg Frere's the safety. That's the first real good pass from Damon Allen. You hear it tonight.
He really rifled that one. Here's another. Harris makes the catch. Short of the first down, but positive yardage. 7 yards. Injury report. Here's Farhan.
Thanks, John. You will see Juan Johnson, Lions running back, going back into the game, but don't be surprised if he's somewhat ineffective. On his long run in the second quarter, he injured his left toe. They're calling it turf toe. The Lions training staff taped it so that it doesn't extend back, but he told me just before the start of the second half that he's in a lot of pain.
And he's going to have to wait about 4-5 series before the painkillers kick in.
Don Blair didn't see the pass coming. Wonder if it's the sunglasses he's wearing.
Well, Don Blair's got to recognize the same thing as Damon Allen recognizes. See, he sees the hot, and the hot meaning getting rid of the football in a hurry, but Don Blair, he didn't recognize the same coverage. That's talking about getting on the same page, and they weren't in that one. Don Blair's
Do you like those visors? I don't like them at all.
Well, you know, I mean, I think that the reason they wear them is because they're prescription.
Well, you have to have a prescription. You have to have a problem with
that's right,
light or something, because you're technically not allowed to use them without
an eye
letter,
disorder. Yeah,
a letter from your optometrist. But I think you lose a little of the personality of the game when you've got them on. 17-4. It's CFL Live from Vancouver.
CFL Live on TSN is brought to you in part by Gatorade. Is it in you?
Here's how the quarterbacks stacked up in the opening half. Dickinson 13 of 18 for 177. Damon Allen a little off, 6 of 13 for 75. Stampeders first possession, second half. Little play action fake by Dickinson. Decides to take off. Not a gifted runner most of the time. He's a little tentative out there.
No, at best, he sort of avoids the rush, but he's nicked. He's got the bad knee, so that takes away what speed he did have. So he's not going to run very effectively here tonight, and he hasn't. He has been a little cautious, so he should be.
Did pick up 5 yards, making this 2nd and 5. From the shotgun, Stampeders leading by 13. Dickinson over the middle, and he's on the money. Vince Danielson couldn't hang on.
Yeah, I think he dropped it. Well, you know what? They ruled it a catch at first, I believe, and then the Lions started shouting, and the back judge called it off.
Here's proof.
Well, take a look. Here it comes. Danielson has to dive for it. That ball hits the ground. It's a good call by the official. They were right on the spot, and they waved off the initial call, which was for the catch. Vince Danielson, former UBC Thunderbird, was a quarterback there, and congratulations to UBC, who won a game yesterday, beating Calgary 43-9.
And that was in Calgary.
Yeah.
Martino back at his 5. Got a little heat there. Got it away. Cunningham will field it on a bounce. Should have attacked the ball a little more effectively, and he's back to where it landed. 7 yards on the return, 51 on the punt. Damon Allen ready to go. He needs a couple of touchdowns to get back. 1st and 10 for the BC Lions. 2nd possession, 2nd half. Allen looks to be thinking run as soon as he got the ball, and he's fired back. There's going to be a roughing penalty against Traversy.
Yeah, and it's a good call. You know, the official immediately threw the flag. You just can't do that. He had Damon Allen all wrapped up. Jeff Traversy did not need to throw him to the ground. That's just protecting the quarterbacks. And this is the kind that Wally Buono hates. See, that's it. The play is over right there. You don't have to do anything more to stop the momentum, and now you don't need to do that. Flag came right down, and Wally will hate those ones after the fact. It's a discipline penalty. We talked about Calgary. One of the keys is avoid penalties. Well, they got 8. 13 is their average.
Allen has completed 2 of 3 for 26 yards in the 2nd half. Set up nicely now at the 45 of the Stampeders. Far side, Jackson makes the catch. And there were Stampeders everywhere. He's at the 40-yard line. Stop there. Short of the 1st down.
We haven't heard a lot of Eddie Brown or Rod Harris on the inside position, and a lot of that is due to the play of Jack Kellogg, the halfback for the Calgary Stampeders, who, if you were picking the all-star team right now, he'd be on it. Jack Kellogg matched up against Eddie Brown for the most part tonight, and Eddie Brown does not have a catch.
5 interceptions for Kellogg, 4 knockdowns this season. Shotgun on 2nd and 5. Allen looks deep. Blair trying to run under it, and he's about 4 yards away.
Well, Allen took a hit, and you know what? He had no one to throw to. The coverage downfield was blanketed. He had time. See, he's got lots of time. He's just looking and hoping for someone to open up. Tries to get rid of that football. Steve Anderson wisely kind of pulls off. He throws him to the ground, but it wasn't like the Jeff Traversy play. He pulls off. The refs realize that and don't call the penalty on Steve Anderson.
He really dropped him more than tossed him to the ground.
He did.
He had him in the grasp and then just let go, and Allen fell to the turf.
That's coverage, though. There was no one open downfield. Don Blair had a blanket on him from Shad Chris.
Harry Jones will put it down for Lou Pasaglia. 47-yard try. Pasaglia missed his last one, but he's got this one. So the Lions climb a little closer. Now a 10-point spread.
Big kick for Louis Pasaglia because it's a long one and it's a confidence builder. He's struggled a little bit in his last few kicks.
10-point ball game now. Adidas Friday Night Football live from McMahon in Calgary. The rematch from Grey Cup Sunday. Stamps won that one. Ticats were oh so close. Hamilton won a big game today. So we'll check out the Stampeders and the Tiger Cats. Adidas Friday Night Football, and there's our staff down there getting ready for it already.
That's the van cam. Look at all those TVs. A lot of TVs in the van.
So the Lions get a little bit closer to the Calgary Stampeders.
Well, they came away with points. That gives them a little bit of momentum, and it also gives Louis Pasaglia a little bit of confidence back.
47-yard field goal. We told you that Pasaglia had a tough week. 1 for 4 last week, and he missed one earlier tonight. So confidence is maybe what Louis needs, although after all these years in the game,
he knows how to do
certainly
it.
shouldn't be lacking any. 24 seasons in the CFL.
Yeah, he knows how to come back from a slump.
And there's an error for the BC Lions there. The kick out of bounds, so Calgary gets the option of instant field position.
Yeah, and that's the option they'll take. They'll put the ball right on the 45-yard line, and that's the rule change to make sure kickers don't do just that. Kick it out of bounds. You get great field position. You're almost at midfield.
Illegal kickoff. BC number 8. Calgary ball, first down at the 45.
Is it just me, or when Fred Childress came back from his NFL tryout, did he get bigger?
He looks a little bigger down with the Dallas Cowboys. There's a matchup we'll watch. Childress versus Johnny Scott.
Scott has 1 sack so far on the night, but Childress has won his battle. He just looks like he's grown, like higher and wider.
Maybe it's just a smaller jersey.
Yeah, could be it.
Stampeders first down from the 45. Dickinson ready to put it up. Now takes out. Good run for Dickinson. Lots for the first down. 13 yards for the Calgary quarterback.
Well, here's the matchup. Fred Childress. This time he's working on Herman Smith. Good at the initial contact, stand him straight up, and then pushes him wide of Dickinson, and that's why Dickinson's allowed to step up in the pocket and pick up the first down.
Stampeders now at the Lion 52. First down. Kelvin Anderson behind Childress for 3.
You know, Greg Mond's got to feel pretty confident in his defense right now because they're taking away Kelvin Anderson. They've done a nice job on Anderson throughout the game on first down. So he knows he's still in that game because of that.
That's not a confident look on his face right now, is it?
No, I wouldn't say that's real confident.
He was happy with the defense.
Well, he is.
As he told us at halftime. But the offense is still a bit of a problem. Don Lindsay sitting upstairs for this one. Usually we see him on the sideline.
Well, he likes it better on the sideline because he's an emotional guy. He's a guy who learned the trade under the great Bear Bryant. And Bear Bryant, the legend, had a tendency to go off the handle on occasion. Now he's going to have to look down on his depth chart, look up number 92 Noah Cantor, and put him in the game for Dave Chaders, because Chaders a little shaken up, and he missed last week's game with a bit of a bad back.
Good news about Noah Cantor, as we mentioned earlier, he did get an opportunity to play a lot last week and did a fine job, so they'll be all right for this sequence, hopefully getting Chaders back, but Cantor has filled in well. 2nd and 7. Dickinson has Allen Pitts. And another Stampeder first down.
Well, the wise veteran Alan Pitts uses his hands, you know, and this is something that you don't call. This is the game inside the game, and the battle between the defensive back and the receiver. And when he comes off the line and pushes out, he's just going to give a little subtle push off on Dale Joseph. Watch the push right there. Just a little push with the left hand. Gives him about another half a yard of distance. Comes up with the catch.
Stampeder drive continues. Pitts a big part of this one. Nice fake. Dickinson escapes. Needs a block. Takes another hit as he ran right into Antonio Armstrong.
Well, this is a good drive for Dave Dickinson because it's keeping possession of the clock, keeping the clock moving, keeping possession of the football, and it's going to answer the Louis Pasaglia field goal at the very least.
That's almost guaranteed. They're inside the 35-yard line now at about the 32. 2nd and 5 from there.
This Lion defense really needs to rise up and make a big play. Interception or a fumble recovery.
Here comes the heat. Dickinson got it away. He'll have another first down near the 25, an 8-yard gain. Travis Moore makes another catch.
You know, at some point, the BC Lions are going to have to decide to gamble. He's going to come in here, Travis Moore, just hook up in front of the zone. You see, the BC Lions are just running three guys at the quarterback. When you're rushing 3, Dave Dickinson has plenty of time to wait, make sure Travis Moore opens up and find him to get him the football.
4 for 80 and a touchdown for Moore. Dickinson has another first down. Hooking up with Moore again. That was an interesting play, really.
Well, this time the Lions do decide to gamble. A little play action freezes them just long enough for Dickinson to come off with the football. You see Paul Lacoste blitzing from the middle linebacker spot, and then Dale Joseph has to jump out of the way of Ron Meyer, or he loses some headgear. See 63 bearing him down. He has to get out of there, so he can't make that tackle.
Superb drive by the Stampeders. Now at the Lion 12 after another 13-yard gain.
This defensive line in BC is starting to look tired.
3 receivers to the near side. Dickinson looks over the middle. Tipped away.
Well, another big hit by Bo Lewis. He hit Alan Pitts in the first half, and this time it's Vince Danielson's turn. Again, Dave Dickinson has time. That defensive line looks a little bit tired. It might have been touched by Johnny
Scott. I think
Scott.
Johnny Scott got a hand on it.
But there's the big hit by Bo Lewis. He's been bringing it. He's putting a little leather on some people here tonight.
This drive began at the 45. Play number 8 coming up. 2nd and 10. Stampeders at the Lion 12. This place is a little noisier now. Dickinson looks to the end zone. Missed it. Looking for Travis Moore again. So the Lions on defense come up.
Great disguise, John, by Paul Lacoste. He's going to come from way away on the blitz to get in Dickinson's face. He's going to be number 58 that hits him as he delivers the football, and it's a huge hit. Dickinson can't see as the receiver. He's just got to hope that he can run out of the football. Paul Lacoste disguised that blitz perfectly.
Having a super rookie season as a member of the BC Lions, Lacoste has really helped the Lions defensively by plugging up that hole in the middle. Mark McLaughlin, perfect so far. This will be spotted inside the 20. Chip shot for McLaughlin, and he answers Louis Pasaglia's field goal. So not much has changed. Stampeders regain their lead. It's 20-7 on CFL Live. We're at the stadium at BC Place. Stay tuned following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by the oil change experts at Mr. Lube. Lions are trying not to disappoint a big crowd here in BC Place. So far, the crowd hasn't had a whole bunch to cheer about.
Well, they haven't really cheered on this offense. The offense here in BC has struggled all game. Damon Allen has tried to go deep early in the first half. Couldn't hook up with his receivers on the deep ball. Struggled, and they've abandoned the running game.
First place is on the line with two teams tied for the top in the West. Winner here tonight will have sole possession of top spot. Let's see what Jimmy Cunningham can do. Took one back 75 yards for a touchdown, but an illegal block in the first half called that one all the way back. 18 yards for Cunningham there, and here's Lacoste.
Well, Lacoste made the play to hold the Calgary Stampeders to a field goal attempt, and he does it by disguise. I mentioned how well he disguises. Watch how he sneaks along like he's not, and then bang, he hits the hole. Watch this. He's just going to sneak across there. He looks like he's not even coming. He's going to drop, and then he hits the hole on the fly. And Fred Childress doesn't even see him coming, and he lowers the boom on Dickinson. That's why it's incomplete.
Lions first down, trailing by 13. Harris makes the catch, and a big one for BC. He's out across the 45 to the 47. Rod Harris has 15.
Joe Paopao likes to go into the hurry-up offense when his offense is struggling. They're not going to do it right now. I wouldn't be surprised to see it before this game is over.
Kevin Johnson, 44, made the tackle. First and 10, Lions at the 47. From the other side, it's Harris again. Short of the first down this time, but positive yardage nonetheless. Hall made the stop for Calgary, number 4.
And that's Joe Paopao just saying, you call this one. You're in a second and short situation. The playbook is wide open. Run the football or throw it. Just let Damon Allen call that one. Joe Paopao calls most of the plays from the sideline.
Gain was 8. This will be 2nd and 2. Allen's numbers improving slightly. Big haul for Juan Johnson. He's inside the 40. 15 yards. Just when you said they abandoned the running game, they find Johnson there.
Well, it's a great call to run the draw play. 2nd and 2. You're not sure what they're going to do offensively. He's just going to hit the hole on the draw. He's untouched. Big block up front by Dan Payne, number 57, on Alondra Johnson. That opens it up, and then Greg Ferris has to just bow his neck and take on the hit.
Allen to his left. Got his man. Johnson made the tackle on Robert Drummond.
Well,
so now he's gone to Johnson on the ground and fired a pass to Robert Drummond on the far side.
And this is the formation we talked about. Robert Drummond way out here at the wide receiver position. See how deep the linebacker is, Johnson? He closes in a hurry, but he lines up way off. Robert Drummond respecting his speed. This has been a new Damon Allen in this drive.
Actually, he's been a little more confident through the second half thus far. Connected on 2 of his first 3 passes. Got it away just in time. Here's Don Blair. A little something to roar about at BC Place Stadium. He's inside the 20.
Well, timing is everything. Ray Jacobs was coming off the edge. Damon Allen had to wait for Don Blair to open up, and he gets rid of this one just in the nick of time. Here he comes from the outside. Ray Jacobs working on Mo Elowanibi. Elowanibi gives his quarterback enough time initially, but you can see if it was an extra second, Damon Allen's going down in a heap.
Blair has 16, and another Lion first down. BC at the Stampeder 13. Little shovel pass to Blair. Can't get to the 5, but he got close. Kellogg up to make the tackle. 7 yards the gain.
Well, this is something that the Calgary defense wouldn't have seen in the game film. It's a shovel pass to Don Blair. What they like to do here in BC is to run that shovel pass to Robert Drummond, but this time Robert Drummond is lined up in a different position. It's going to be Blair that comes underneath and takes it, and that's not going to be accounted for, and then it's a gang tackle on Don Blair. There's about 6 white jerseys all over him.
Solid drive beginning at the 32. This is play 7 coming up.
And they can get a first down here without scoring.
2nd and 3 at the Stampeders 6. Robert Drummond should have the first down. And that'll give the Lions 3 cracks at it.
Well, they're hitting in there. I mean,
Alondra Johnson makes the tackle here.
Alondra Johnson saves a touchdown. Steve Harden's pulling. He comes around. Excuse me, Corey Mantica, but Alondra Johnson creates a pile.
Well, maybe it's a little closer than we thought because they're going to measure this. This is a little bit more of what we were expecting from the Lions on home turf tonight. When you look at what Allen's done on this drive, he's used everyone but his wide receivers to get all the way down and inside the Stampeder 5-yard line.
The length of the football is short, and Greg Mons gives him the go-ahead and go for it. Watch Alondra Johnson fill the hole at this side of the football field. He's going to take on Corey Mantica. He sees it coming, and he's got to create a pile. Get low, create a pile, and have the running back trip over the pile.
So it'll be 3rd down and inches for the Lions, and this place has gone a little quiet all of a sudden.
Well,
Big play.
There's over 27,000 fans that are a little nervous right now.
Well, there they are, ready to go. No flags. Allen has the first down. He almost got the touchdown.
Well, and they'll just line up and do that one more time. And that's what Greg Mons was signaling from the sideline. That was Damon Allen to his right. And he tried Damon Allen to his left in this play. Either way, they're okay. Steve Harden at 310 is the right guard. Dan Payne at about 350 is the left guard.
From the 1, touchdown BC. Damon Allen. Sixth rushing touchdown of the season for Allen. And a little something to cheer about, so turn up the music at BC Place.
Well, I mentioned Steve Harden, a big right guard. He was the lead blocker on the touchdown, and a great drive put together by Damon Allen. They really had to respond. Big Steve Harden is pumped up. He's heading to the sideline. He says, that was our best drive of the game. I'm going to come over and get a drink of water and sit down and rest.
The Lions find their way to the end zone. And finally, the Loggers can climb to the top. They got a junior guy there now, Glenn.
Watch big Steve Harden hit that one in there. Damon Allen right behind him. See, Harden's 4 yards in the end zone, number 61. That's a great surge by the offensive line for the BC Lions. Back-to-back 1-yard gains, enough for the touchdown, and a great drive. Steve Harden over there is going to try and get the oxygen. That's what he's signaling for. See that? He put his hand up, said, give me some oxygen. That was a
6-point game now.
That was a sprint to the sideline for Steve Harden, and it's about 40 yards that he had to run, and I don't think offensive linemen run 40 yards all game.
No, not usually.
Now they do a little bit of hitting up there. Chris Schultz will be talking to me about that, I'm sure.
He might mention it. Very impressive scoring drive for the Lions. 78 yards covered in 9 plays. 5 completions by Damon Allen. And then he topped it off with a couple of short runs, including the last one into the end zone.
Well, no question they needed the point. That's the no-brainer. But 5:03 the time of possession, and that gave the BC defense a chance to rest on the sideline. Their defensive line, I mentioned, looked tired, and now they got a chance to rest.
Coleman waits for it near the 20. Nice return out across the 35, stopped at the 37. So decent field position for the Stampeders.
George Cortez will talk it over with Dave Dickinson on the sideline. Cortez works the game plan, game in and game out. Dickinson's putting together a pretty good game. 209 yards. Had the 1 interception when he overthrew Calvin Anderson in the first series of the game to David Benefield. But other than that, he's put together a pretty good night.
He was impressive on the last drive, although the Stampeders settle for a field goal. Dickinson moved the team. We'll see what he can do here. 3 receivers, far side of the field. Dickinson will put it up. Lone man, far side. And Aubrey Cummings has the first down. Final play of the third quarter. Stampeders are rolling along, but the Lions have closed to within 6. Fourth quarter just ahead.
You're watching the CFL Live, and we're at the quarter. Brought to you by 1-800-HI-IT'S-ME. It's the cheapest way to call. Collect.
First, a message to my good friend Glenn Sutter. Don't get the big man riled while I'm sitting beside him here. He's sprinted a lot more than 40 yards.
Oh, every pass interception I had to cover, I had to run at least 40 yards.
Well,
absolutely.
The Lions finally get it downfield. Finally, I mean,
yes.
There's been some frustration for that offense tonight.
You know, finally the BC Lions put together a series of plays where they score a touchdown. First time this game, they're not a bad offense. Them and the Hamilton Ticats average 377 yards per game. The difference, Hamilton has scored over 100 more points. It's critical that BC has another drive like this going into the rest of this fourth quarter, Rod.
And one of the problems for both teams, a couple of plays that are drive killers.
You know, this is unbelievable when you think about it. The drive killers in this game for both teams are really, you know, it's ridiculous that they have these type of plays in a football game more than anything else. You look at Don Blair right here. He's the key component. This is a relatively easy play that he has the ball in the sights. He sees the fact that he's going to get hit. He drops the football. You can't do that. And then in a second scenario, somebody who really surprises me, Vince Danielson. Here, he has his quarterback, Dave Dickinson, scrambling, has the ability to catch the football and drops it. You know, I'm not saying it's easy. It's one of the hardest things to do. And really, Don Blair kind of had a couple of other plays, but what separates the mediocre receivers from the outstanding ones, their ability to catch the football when they know they're going to get hit, Rod.
And some point before the end of the season, we have to have a 40-yard showdown between Glenn Sutter and Chris Schultz. Lots still to come, including the fourth quarter. BC plays once again. Let's take you back to John and Glenn for the fourth quarter.
We're almost set. Third quarter stats brought to you by Castrol GTX. Drive hard.
Well, I talk about this one more and the lack of rushing yards from the BC Lions, except for the fact that they've been behind now and they really have to throw the ball now. It's that time in the game, fourth quarter. Of course, they did close the gap to 6 with that long drive, and the time of possession really equaled out with that drive because it was over 5 minutes. Damon Allen's got it back on track. 88 yards, 8 for 10 in the third quarter.
Dickinson having another solid game for the Calgary Stampeders. And he knows he's been playing football. Again, hammered there, but he got the pass away. Pitts makes the catch. And that takes Pitts over 1,000 yards one more time.
Well, he's been quiet tonight, but he got enough yards to put him over 1,000. He's done it all but 2 times in his career, Alan Pitts.
And those were the seasons
that he was injured.
He suffered injuries.
There are the other guys who have done it 8 times. Ray Elgard in 14 seasons. Of course, Alan Pitts passed Ray Elgard, become the all-time leading receiver in CFL history this year. And Don Narcisse in 13 seasons. Of course, is still playing in Saskatchewan.
25 yards to gain. Dave Dickinson took another big hit. Here's Kelvin Anderson. Anderson breaks away. What a great run by number 32. Lost the ball. Lions recovered in the end zone.
Well, sometimes you got to think that the breaks will start to even out a little bit.
Reggie Carthon comes up with a loose ball in the end zone.
Well,
after Anderson fumbled it just outside, I do believe.
You know what?
Fumbled into the end zone.
John, first of all, the run is spectacular.
Absolutely.
I mean, the Kelvin, and watch his feet. Watch how quick his feet are. Bounce to the outside. Little move right there to bounce again to the outside. Little hop, and then look at him go. Speed. Now, here's the hustle from Reggie Carthon. Raphael Ball knocks it out of there. And Carthon is the guy who hustles back and turns it over for the BC Lions. Raphael Ball with the unbelievable effort. He goes horizontal to strip the football out of there. Carthon picks it up. And Greg
Mond's obviously happy at that. But the key there was that the ball was not carried across the goal line by Anderson.
Nope.
He lost control at the 1-yard line. So the Lions get it back. Big break, BC.
Incomplete. Whistle's gone.
Well, you think about how big of a football play was that. I mean, you look at the score right now, 2014. It's 27-14 if Calvin Anderson takes that one in the end zone. All the breaks went Wally Buono's side in the first half, and now they're starting to balance out a little bit. You saw the turnover stat. Those are equal now.
2nd and 10 for the Lions, who dodge a bullet. Allen hasn't gone to his wideouts very frequently. What a great catch by Don Blair. He one-handed that and gets close to a first down. The spot all important to the Lions right now, but a great catch by Blair.
Oh, boy. The Lions are starting to play now. I mean, this was a great catch, and he gets up there close. It might be decision time for Greg Mons. I don't know how he pulls out this one. That's just stabbing it with one hand.
Whoa.
Way behind him, gets it in his feet, and then a pretty good move in the open field on Shad Chris right there to buy himself a couple of more yards. And he's forcing the decision now for Greg Mons on 3rd down, and it's a long yard.
Yeah, it's almost 2. Worth looking at this again because that was spectacular. Blair has 6 on the evening.
Oh, this is a big call, John. Greg Mons has confidence in his offense.
Do you believe they're doing this? 3rd down and 1.5 yards at least. Allen's going to put it out. Blair makes the catch. He didn't make the first down by too much.
Well, Wally Buono wants the pick called. He wants the rub called, and now the flag comes down late, and he may get an objectionable conduct. He was over there immediately. He thought there was a pick play. Now they're going to have to measure this one because it's that close.
You got to call the pick.
You heard it right there. You got to call the pick.
Greg Mons looks very innocent on the far sideline, saying that couldn't have been a pick. I wouldn't put a play like that in.
0-7 rub.
George Cortez is over there saying, I know what the play was. It's called 0-7 rub. See, if it's an offensive play, you call it a rub. If it's a defense, it's a pick. Wally Buono think there was a pick there and shouldn't have been a penalty. The refs did not throw the flag for that. They did throw a late flag.
There were physical abuse of an official.
Oh, boy.
1st down. We're going to go.
Physical abuse of the official. Wally was upset immediately. He ran over to the official and started yelling at him. And he wanted to see the rub play, the pick play call. They're going to march this one way down now. They're into Calgary territory.
He's disqualified.
He's gone. He's walking off the field. George Cortez will run the show from now on in.
Not very often you see a coach tossed out of a game.
Well, he went over there immediately. I mean, and it's a crucial play of the game. 3rd down gamble. He has a chance to bury him if they can hold him.
Now the Lions with a 1st down, trailing by 6. BC has the momentum. Damon Allen looks deep, and he's got it. Rod Harris, 35 yards. The joint is jumping now.
When Damon Allen was throwing the ball deep in the first half, he was putting a lot of heat on the football. This time he puts more air under it. He lets it float up there and lets Rod Harris run under it. See all the air? He just throws it up high, lets Harris gather it up. Now this is the play before and the reason that Wally Buono is out of the game. There's Don Blair to the outside. Now watch Buono. He's going to come right over to the official immediately and start yelling for the pick. I'm not sure what he said. He gives him a little push there. Just Settle gets right up close to him, starts yelling at him, and he's in the dressing room, and right now the Lions are capitalizing.
1st and 10, BC. Allen under the coverage, Don Blair. He's been huge in the second half for BC. 9 more for Blair.
This is blitz pickup, it's called. Blitz pickup is where the offense recognizes the blitz and makes adjustments. That was not the play called for Don Blair. But when Don Blair saw the safety come out of the middle, he is told to break off his pattern, change the play, and break to the outside. And you're right, John. He's come up with some big plays to get some momentum for the BC Lions.
Allen has been brilliant in the second half after a very sluggish opening. 2nd and 1, and the Lions get another first down to keep this drive rolling right along.
Well, we've seen a couple of different halves. I mean, first half, a lot of mistakes by the BC Lions. Second half, the Calgary Stampeders making some mistakes, a couple of turnovers, a couple of penalties that have cost them. Their coach is in the locker room, disqualified.
18 of 28. 12 of 15 now for Allen's second half. Hot. 1st and goal to go. Lions at the Stampeder 2. Markers are down, and Juan Johnson doesn't make it to the end zone. Now the signal comes out. There was a late signal. There's also a flag down in the backfield.
They're saying procedure BC.
I do believe it is procedure against the Lions.
Illegal formation, BC 68, repeat first down.
Legal formation. Corey Mantica was lined up off the ball. You've got to have your shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. Corey Mantica wasn't in that position, so it was legal formation. They'll have to do it again 5 yards back.
So from 1st and goal to go at the 2, 1st and goal to go now at the Stampeders 7.
See, see how it's slant? See his shoulders are slanted this way. They got to be straight like that. It's a tight one. It's a gutsy call down there. It's pretty close.
This drive. Now, play number 8. Robert Drummond, yes. From the 7. Drummond finds the end zone. We're all even.
They're on their feet now. And you know what? Robert Drummond was not going to be denied. That's as hard as he's hit the hole all game.
You gotta like Greg Munn's enthusiasm.
Well, he sort of wears it on his sleeve out there, doesn't he? You see the emotion. You saw it in the first half at the other end of the spectrum when he was obviously upset with his football team and their mistakes, and now he gets excited. He's the first guy over to congratulate the team, tell them they're putting together a couple good drives. They're back in it. It's all tied, and they have a chance to take the 1-point lead right now.
The Lions have the lead for the first time. Robert Drummond into the end zone from 7 yards away. And Greg Mons, the happiest guy in town for now. Quite a turnaround for Greg Mons and the BC Lions here in the 4th quarter. Here's how it began. Well, Anderson into the end zone without the ball. The Lions avoid a Calgary touchdown.
What would have been a 7-point Calgary touchdown turns around. This is a 3rd down gamble. The BC Lions convert. Wally Buono gets thrown out for abusing the official right there, and that leads to this, which is a Robert Drummond touchdown, and what was going to be 7 points for the Calgary Stampeders in 4 minutes turns into 7 points the other way.
So a turnaround of 14, and the Lions have a 1-point lead. He's outside the Calgary locker room. He can't come back on the field because of the disqualification, and he's got the worst seat in the house.
Yeah, no, you can't see much from back in there. Well, it's emotional when you're playing for first place.
Kelvin Anderson lost the ball. Stampeders or the Lions? Tough to tell. Both teams had a good shot at it. And I think it's Kevin Johnson, 44, coming up with a loose ball. But the BC Lions had an opportunity to get it right back here.
Well, this would have been back-to-back fumbles for Kelvin Anderson had it gone over to the BC Lions. He puts that one on the ground. Looked like it was stripped out of there. Lions had a couple of cracks at it. Simon Buffo had a chance. He couldn't get the handle, and then Johnson picks up the
Lockbaum, too, had an opportunity.
14-point turnaround in 4 minutes and 28 seconds from the time that Kelvin Anderson fumbled it in the end zone to the time that Drummond ended up in the opposite end zone.
See if the Stampeders can respond. Here's Dickinson. Short of the first down, but he has 6 yards. Dickinson missed 5 games with a shoulder injury.
Well, that's the guy who's going to be running the show from now on. George Cortez not only calling the plays for Dave Dickinson on the sideline, but he's going to have to make the decisions whether or not Calgary Stampeders may have to gamble if they're in a 3rd and short situation, or whether they put the field goal team. All those decisions that the head coach makes will now be on the shoulders of George Cortez.
Maybe valuable experience. He should be a head coach in this league one day. Dickinson, 2nd and 4, and he has the first down. Travis Moore. He's been the most productive of the Calgary receivers so far tonight.
Boy, is he ever. And he's been lined up a lot to the inside. And it's just a different formation for the Calgary Stampeders, because usually he is outside. But Travis Moore is an inside receiver here. And he is really providing a target all game for Dave Dickinson. And it's just a little turn in front of the zone coverage. But he's done a bunch of that throughout this game.
12 yards the gain for Moore. Stampeders are set up at the 51. Dickinson shotgun. Tries to buy a little time and just fired this one away. No one was open.
Well, that's the problem, yeah. And George Cortez, he can't blame his quarterback for that. You just got to call a different play there, because that one was well covered down the field. Dickinson just couldn't throw it, and wisely threw it away. 2nd and 10 doesn't hurt you. You force it, force the turnover, now you're in trouble.
Lions have roared back to take the lead, 21-20. Tense times continue, though, for Greg Munn.
Big down right here.
2nd and 10, Stampeders. Oh, what a hit. A monster hit.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah.
Kelvin
Stay
Anderson
down.
is shaken up.
Stay down. No way.
Antonio Armstrong.
No way. He got up. That is resilience. That is resilience from Kelvin Anderson. You can't hit any harder than this. I don't care what league. That's a biggie. And that one hurts, because your momentum is going all the way. Your momentum's going all the way. This is coming right here. Man, this is huge. This is a huge hit. And Anderson took a second. He did an inventory check on the ground. Okay, my legs are all right. I can feel them. Can feel my back, can feel my arms. All right, I'm good to get up. That's toughness. That's
now
toughness.
He's got to have a chat with Pat Clayton, the therapist, because Anderson really got hammered there. And that forces 3rd down. Jimmy Cunningham back at his 10. Martino tries to keep it as far away from him as possible. Cunningham takes it on the dead run and looks to find a little bit of space, but there was none. Wrapped up and put down on the turf at the 10-yard line. Wally has to watch from the bleachers as the Stampeders fall behind by a point.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you by Gibson's finest 12-year-old Canadian whiskey.
We're down to the wire at the stadium at BC Place. Lions by a point. Beginning this drive at the 9 after Martino forced the Lions deep inside BC territory. There's a good way to break out from there, though. Juan Johnson has run well tonight. Couple of big plays, a couple of long runs just like that.
And he's running on a turf toe, and turf toe hurts. But he hits this hole hard, and Juan Johnson looks like he's back to form that he had last year. He's made some big runs like you mentioned, and he's going to see the football along with Robert Drummond in this drive a whole bunch. This is real simple. No surprises here. We're just going to deliver the blow and see which guy beats which guy.
8 carries, 62 yards for Johnson. A first down for the Lions. Allen in trouble. He escapes and finds Jackson. They call it a catch. He stayed in.
Well, it's so cool. Damon Allen is so cool under pressure. And this is why people are talking about him as the MVP this year. Watch how cool he is. He stands up. Now look at this little move. Little shake there, or he's caught for a big loss by Steve Anderson and then delivers the strike to Alfred Jackson. Look at that, throwing on the run, and Jackson keeps concentration, both feet in bounds.
Nice catch.
Steps out.
13 yards to gain. Lions out at the 37 suddenly. There's early movement. And I think the Stampeders jumped first. Miles ended up making contact.
Well, they're going to have to meet on this one. I mean, I think you're right. It looked like it was Jermaine Miles who jumped off first, and then Mo Elwanibi just had to brace himself for the hit.
Solid football game. The Lions were not very impressive on offense in the first
Calgary
half.
95, still first down.
You know what it's been too? It's been maybe the hardest hitting football game I've seen this year, and Damon Allen has really picked it up in the second half. He is now 13 of 16 in the second half, 156 yards.
Well, the first half numbers were nothing to write home about. Another Lion first down. Another handout to Juan Johnson.
Well, there's nothing fancy about this. It's just drive off the football, and can our offensive line beat your defensive line? And Juan Johnson working on 100 yards here tonight. Getting close.
Johnson had 973 yards last year in 15 games as a Lion, and his arrival, or at least once he got comfortable with his offense, that coincided with a 6-game win streak for BC. Another first down for the Lions, and not much room there.
Well, Eric Sutton came off the corner. Yeah, sorry, John. Eric Sutton came off the corner on a halfback blitz. And that's just, again, we talked about it earlier in the game about blitzing on defense to try and stop the run. He's going to come right off here, and he's going to be in the backfield just as Juan Johnson picks up the football. See, there he is, number 27. See, all the gaps are canceled. But if you keep doing that and sending the blitz on first down, got to be careful that Damon Allen just doesn't pull one down and try and beat you with the deep ball.
Just a 1-yard gain, 2nd and 9. Lions at the 48, leading the Stampeders by 1. Allen tries to escape. There are markers down. Penalty will be called, and Allen likely just trying to get that one into the turf, hoping that the penalty was going against Calgary, but that remains to be seen right now.
It was in the holding area. Here it comes.
Holding, BC 64, penalties decline, 3rd down.
Mo Elwanibi.
Well, what the BC Lions did with the drive, though, is they got out of a deep hole and they got some field position back. They started inside their 10-yard line. Now they're out at their 45. So Dave Dickinson will get the ball back, but in 3 minutes and 40 seconds, he's going to have to drive it almost the length of the field, depending on what kind of return Marvin Coleman can get. So a successful drive, even though it didn't come away with any points for the BC Lions.
Well, and this is a very precarious lead that the Lions are hanging on to right now, 1 point. So we've reached the critical time. High snap. Louis brought it down and got it away. Coleman from the 20, and he's out to about the 25. Penalty marker down. Right around Lou Pasaglia, contacting the kicker.
Yep, that's going to be first down BC.
Quite a turnaround at this stadium tonight. The Lions have the lead by 1 on CFL Live. Louis Pasaglia slightly shaken up on the punt, but he does draw the penalty. The Lions get the ball.
Kevin Johnson comes in there, tries to dive, make a big play, hits Louis in the leg. Of concern for Wally Buono is that the BC Lions have the first down, and there's nothing that he can do about it from where he is over by the locker room. Of concern for the BC Lions is that it looked like Louis Pasaglia limped off the field, and he's been trying to walk off his injury.
Talked about penalties as keys to success for the Stampeders. They've taken 122 yards worth. First down for the Lions. Robert Drummond. With 3:01 to go. The Lions are holding on to a 1-point lead. Quite a comeback for Greg Mons, but it's still a long 3 minutes at BC Place. It's the CFL Live on TSN. After we're done here, and it's going to be a spectacular finish, Sports Desk with Gina Retta and David Pratt. Ryder Cup highlights, the pennant races down to the wire. And how about those Tiger Cats? A win over the Alouettes today. All that and much more on Sports Desk tonight. Meantime, into the final 3 minutes here, the Lions have a 1-point lead in the Calgary Stampeders. It's a showdown for first place in the West. Here's Damon Allen on first down, making it happen. Oh, almost looking for Eddie Brown.
William Hampton looks hurt on the play. Left corner for the Calgary Stampeders, jumped up and went down immediately. Eddie Brown almost came up with it. He was pushed out of bounds, which means he can come back in the field of play. That one snuck in there, and he almost came up with it, but you saw William Hampton's knee twist as he went down, and he grabbed it immediately. Jumps up, and right there, he jams his knee, and that one looks serious. He grabbed it right away, that right knee. Watch this. Leaves his feet, and right there, it jams and locks out backwards. The knee is not supposed to bend that way.
Costly loss for the Stampeders. William Hampton being attended to. We'll take a quick timeout and be back to BC Place. Calgary Stampeders have run into all kinds of problems in the second half. They led 17-4 at halftime and have fallen behind 21-20 here, and now lost their outstanding cornerback William Hampton.
What a year he's been having. William Hampton, 5 interceptions. He has 3 touchdowns this year. Here's one more look at the injury. He jams his knee, it locks out backwards. Grabbed it immediately. He's limping off the field. Not a good sign. Well, now he's starting to try and put a little more weight on it. Of course, the training.
Yeah, that's encouraging right there.
Yeah, the training staff will try and tell him to stop doing that until they can assess it on the sideline, make sure that he doesn't have any structural damage. But it is a big loss. You lose your all-star corner.
It's also a big loss when you lose your all-star coach. Wally Buono has been tossed out of this game for interfering with officials. There's Wally's perch as he looks from a very bad angle at this game. He's in the end zone over by the Stampeder locker room. And George Cortez is in charge of proceedings for Calgary. Lou Pasaglia puts it out on about the 4-yard line.
It's a perfect punt for Louis. Remember, he got hit, and there was some question. He was trying to shake off that injury when he got hit by Kevin Johnson. He was on his right leg, and he just punted that one right out of the corner.
Game story thus far. Stampeders a hot start. Travis Moore, 6 catches, 104 yards. Dave Dickinson has been superb as well, 262 yards. Damon Allen was cool in the first half and hot in the second.
Well, Dave Dickinson has the football back right now. He's got lots of time on the clock, and he only needs a field goal to win this game. Greg Mons is putting it on the hands of the defense right now.
He's also trying to get the fans a little more involved. Dickinson got it out. Good play by Aubrey Cummings to get the first down territory. It'll be second down and about a yard to go.
Well, Dickinson had to scramble around
Actually,
deep in his end zone, and he had to go around the goalpost, which put him deeper in the end zone. Finally, he found a receiver out on the sideline.
Make it 3 yards to go, Glenn.
And from where Wally is right now, he can't even see that far down the field. He's at the opposite end.
Huge play for the Stampeders. 2nd and 3. Dickinson fired it into the turf, and the Lions will get it back in a hurry. Dickinson is down and out of it again. He has been hammered again tonight. Sacked 20 times coming into this game, and 3 more tonight.
Well, he keeps getting up, and you know, this has been one of the most physical football games I've watched all year, and we've seen a bunch. But look at that.
They met at the quarterback, Benefield and Herman Smith.
You know, get in your car, drive about 50 miles an hour straight into a wall. That's what it feels like for Dave Dickinson. And I'm not suggesting you try that at home.
No, it's not advisable.
No, but that's, and he keeps getting up. I mean, he's a tough customer, that guy.
All kinds of courage. Martino trailing by a point. Out across the 5-yard line to keep this away from Jimmy Cunningham. Cunningham pinned in on the sideline, and there's no chance for a return over there. 3 yards is all he could get. 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go, and Greg Mons has an opportunity to be first in the West all by himself. This is what we thought the Lions would have to do to win tonight.
Well, at the beginning of the game, it sure didn't look like they were going to prove they were the real deal, but they've turned it around in the second half. Outscored the Stamps 17-3. Don't beat yourselves. They did it in the first half, but came back and made some turnovers in the second and get some pressure with just 4. Well, Dickinson, we've seen how many times he's been hit, sacked 3 times and hit a bunch. You know, it's a sign of a good football team when you can overcome adversity, and right now the BC Lions are doing that. They are overcoming a lot of adversity they faced in the first half, and now Wally Bono and his team are going to have to try and do it in the second half, because it's been the second half that has hurt them.
Wally looks like he's in jail down there, and that's about it. He's been disqualified from the game, so he can't do anything about this right now. Ron Johnson for BC. Out across midfield by a yard. He has 7 more. Here's Farhan Louji.
Well, John, I had a chance to talk to Calgary head coach Wally Bono when he got ejected from this game, and he told me that while he was upset at the missed pick call, what really set him off is the side judge came up, stepped in front of him, and pushed him out of the way. That's when he went off the handle, so he said, yeah, it was a bad call, but no official should be pushing me.
Then he got disqualified for abusing an official.
Well, they always call the retaliation.
Just like hockey, right?
Yeah.
2nd and 3. The Lions are at midfield. 1:53 to go. No first down on that play. Maybe 1 yard.
Ray Jacobs just playing without his helmet now. That's how tough these guys have been playing tonight. They've been banging each other. Jacobs got to go get his headgear, put that back on. It's been a hard-hitting football game.
Well, the situation is a 1-point lead for the Lions.
But, you know,
looking at 3rd down here now and at least 2 yards to go.
Yeah, they're going to have to punt it away again, which gives Dave Dickinson 1 more crack at putting together a drive that could win it. Now, when you look at the time, 1:47, where they're going to start with the football by the time they get in field goal range, unless they get the one big play, it's going to be a last-second field goal chance if they can do it.
Now, Pasaglia was almost perfect on his last punt from about this area on the field, maybe about 10 yards closer, actually.
The last snap was high.
And this one isn't as deep. So the Stampeders will have pretty good field position, considering what might have happened. A 26-yard punt by Pasaglia. And so Dickinson has an opportunity here with 1:23 on the clock. All he needs is a field goal for the victory.
This is what we thought they'd need to do to win the game, protect the quarterback. I don't think they've done that sufficiently tonight. Pressure Damon Allen. They did in the first half, had success against him, but he's come on in the second, and they certainly haven't avoided penalties. Now, can they overcome all 3 is the question.
And Wally took the biggest penalty of the night. A disqualification. First down, Stampeders. Dickinson almost a perfect catch by Travis Moore. He went high and couldn't bring it down. So that's one for Greg Mons.
Well, Travis Moore has had a pretty good game, and they've been battling against Dale Joseph. A lot of this game, Dale Joseph kept hanging in there, and he comes up with a big play to just kind of undercut Travis Moore. He almost comes up with a circus catch, but he cuts the legs out from underneath him, and when he does, the ball comes out of his hands.
2nd and 10. Stampeders at the 28. They're down by a point.
This is it.
More heat on Dickinson. He got it away. Vince Danielson made the catch. Short of the first down. Lost the ball. Lions say they have recovered it, and that's it. BC Lions come up with a football. Greg Mons has beaten the Stampeders again. All he has to do is take a minute 10 off the clock, but now he's got the football.
Well, a minute 10 off the clock, but he's got the football now in field goal range. So he doesn't need to come up with a first down. I don't think he can kill a minute 10 unless he gets a first down on the play. But even if they don't, they can still kick a field goal and make it a 4-point game. And here's the fumble again. Vince Danielson gets hit hard over the middle by David Benefield. David Benefield had that interception to start the game, and he caps it off by causing a fumble. Tony Armstrong and Dale Joseph recovered, and Greg Mons, yeah, he's a little excited. See, turn around to that huge crowd you got here in BC Place and say, there you go.
And on the other side of things, Ron Rook, Vice President of Communications, is trying to console Wally Buono, but I don't imagine that he's having much success down there right now. 1:10 to go. Robert Drummond spins for a couple.
You know, now you want to run a running play if you're the BC Lions to the middle of the field and set up a field goal opportunity for Louis Pasaglia straight on, because that's a huge field goal. Right now, a 1-point game. You want to get it in the middle, kick the field goal, make it a 4-point game so that Dave Dickinson has to drive the length of the field.
For the touchdown and the win.
That's right.
Keep in mind, though, that Lou Pasaglia has had a couple of problems in recent times, and he was hurt again tonight. Last punt only traveled 26 yards, so Louis is ailing a little bit. They want to get as close as they can. For Drummond coming out of the backfield, big hit, and it'll be 3rd down. So 46 seconds to go as Kellogg moves up on Drummond, and Pasaglia comes in.
Big kick right here, because with 46 seconds, and you put Marvin Coleman, whoever they're going to put back there to return this kick, if it goes wide, you still have a chance for a couple of plays before you attempt to win the game with the field goal if you're the Calgary Stampeders. Now the question is, how is Louis Pasaglia's kicking foot? He was hurt last week in the Montreal game. He was hurt again here tonight when Kevin Johnson landed right on that right foot. It's not 100%. He's got to block out the pain, and for a kicker, it's all mental. Right now, Louis Pasaglia is trying to block out the pain, stay focused on the job at hand, concentrate on the uprights, and go through like a golfer would on a golf swing.
This is not a sure thing with the problems Pasaglia has had, including the injury tonight. Spotted at the 42, and Louis is wide. Coleman in the end zone. Taking valuable time off the clock, and he gets out to the 2. I don't know what he was thinking there.
You know what? Huge error by Coleman, and Wally Buono knows it. I mean, he's over there shaking his head. Coleman needs to get down on one knee immediately. It's a 1-point game right now. A 2-point game is no different.
Yeah, you've got Mark McLaughlin, if you can drive for about 4 or 5 first downs. Well, maybe more than that. But
you need the time back on the clock. There was 46 seconds when Louis Pasaglia kicked that one wide. Marvin Coleman is a veteran, needs to catch that football, go down on a knee immediately, give up the single point. They get it out on the
35.
Yeah, 35-yard line. They get the first down with about 43 seconds left in the game.
Couple of completions, and you might get McLaughlin into the game.
Absolutely, you get him in the game, you got a chance. You're on the 2-yard line now, and you've killed a bunch of time.
Dickinson needs a miracle. He's got a first down, and another helmet flies out. Dowdell made the catch.
Raphael Ball throwing it in there now. You know, they're going to just play off in zone, but they can't play too loose because that was a big gain. Remember, Calgary Stampeders came back a week ago versus the Toronto Argonauts. Marcus Dowdell was a big part of that. They know how to come back. There's still 26 seconds left on the clock.
A 26-yard gain for the Stampeders. Lions lead it by a point after falling behind 17-4 at halftime.
Here's the scenario, though. Marvin Coleman cost the Calgary Stampeders 8 seconds. We timed it out, and it's 8-second difference. If he just kneels down when he catches the football, gives up the single, they save 8 more seconds. Will that 8 seconds come back to haunt them in this drive? That's what they're facing right now.
Well, yeah, and you would have had it at the 35.
That's right.
And 3 points still wins it for you.
Well, you can think of a lot of scenarios, and who knows what the play is if that's where it starts. But that catch on the sideline, I mean, you're at midfield already. I mean, this is the decision that Marvin Coleman makes. He wastes time, and he gets out to the 2-yard line.
Dickinson for Danielson. What a spectacular catch.
Oh, man.
For Vince Danielson. He's out at the 50.
Well,
17 seconds remaining. Stampeders still have a chance.
No question.
27 yards on that play.
Clock won't.
26 on the previous. Sorry.
Clock won't start until they snap the ball. Now it's going.
14 seconds. Dickinson comes to the near side for Cummings, and he's out inside BC territory by a couple of yards.
They got 9 seconds left in the game. Right now, they're out of field goal range. It would be right now probably a 57-yard field goal attempt. You really need one more completion, but you don't need a big play. But you got to do it in a hurry. 9 seconds. You can't mess around or you lose the chance to kick the field goal.
Here's the old ball game right here. He doesn't get it away. The Lions come through. Johnny Scott is there. Now 4 seconds on the clock. Scott and Herman Smith met at the quarterback. Well, still 4 seconds to go, but I'm not sure you can get a playoff in 4 seconds and a field goal attempt.
No. Now it's time to Hail Mary. Put them all on one side, student body left. Throw it up there, hope for a pass interference call, or somehow a deflection comes to your man, and you score a fluky one.
Zeros on the clock. One last hope for the Stampeders. Here come the Lions. He got it away, but a Stampeder receiver goes down and didn't get up again. That's the ball game. Greg Mons has beaten Wally Buono one more time. 5 in a row. Lots of emotion here.
His defense kept them in the game despite a ton of problems in the first half. They fought through adversity, which is a sign of a good team. The Calgary Stampeders shot themselves in the foot in the second half with too many penalties at key times. And that's why they lose a football game. Now,
Stampeders had a completion, and I don't understand why they didn't get up and try and run it.
Now, what about that 8 seconds from Marvin Coleman?
Now, there's the ball game there, or part of it. Anyway, a thriller at BC Place. It's the Lions winning by 1.
Wow. I don't even know where to begin on this. There are so many twists and turns, and you talk about a turning point. Well, let's give out a whole bunch here, even at the very end of the ball game, Chris. But what's your take on a very weird one? BC was much better in that second half, but you talk about the ultimate award for kicking, for kicking this game around. It goes to Calgary at the end.
Well, it really does. I mean, there were a lot of really unique and negative decisions. Marvin Coleman should have gotten down in the end zone right away. They should have thrown a little out pattern when they still had the football so close to really setting it up for a long-distance field goal. The key turning point to me was Kelvin Anderson and his fumble going into the end zone. That changed the momentum of the game, and then for some reason, offensively, BC got their act together and started really running the football a little bit better and making plays. Don Blair started being a part of it after I criticized him in the third quarter. Very funny fourth quarter, some really tough, difficult decisions, not the best ones for the Calgary Stampeders.
The one thing, and this is a very positive aspect for the BC Lions, I don't remember seeing a game, and this is, we watch it on TV, how hard-hitting it looked, especially BC.
This was intense, and I really think sometimes when you have two teams of this level that are really good and they're so close in a lot of different areas, the players know they have to hit hard, they have to play their best personal games, and it's the matchups on the offense and defensive line. There was a lot of pride on the game. It was shocking to see Wally Buono escort himself off the football field on what really didn't look like a dramatic penalty, but obviously he retaliated in a way, whether it was verbal or physical, that he did not. But to see him in the end zone there, that was kind of shocking to me. But full credit to the BC Lions. Hey, first place, best in the West.
And the guy who was the quarterback for it once again, another one, another notch there, and one of many in his great career, Damon Allen. Damon, thanks for joining us. Have you seen a game, certainly this season, I can't think of one that has had so many little turns and plot, especially in that second half?
Well, I think what we came in the second half, I think what we really needed to do is just open up the offense a little bit. Yes, we tried to force the run a little bit, but, you know, once we went no huddle and, you know, allow, you know, our team to get into a rhythm, and, you know, that's probably was our best formation tonight, was the no huddle situation. That really, you know, speeded up the game for our offense, and you know, made a few plays, and next thing you know, we were on top of them.
Damon, Chris Schultz here, I really thought at a certain point after Don Blair missed the play, he dropped the pass, you went right back to him. Did your progression in reads change to try to isolate him, or was it an issue just the best player available to try to get the ball to?
Well, you know, I take pride on reading coverage and trying to find, you know, hopefully in our play we had a guy in their weakest coverage, and you know, a few times, you know, they were playing double cut, and so, you know, our guys did a good job of sitting in the holes, and I find the open guy. But, you know, that's just part of my reads and my progression, and, you know, sometimes some guys will get more balls than others, but the fact that we won, and it was an exciting game, and the way we came back was, you know, most overwhelming.
And Damon, which leads to what I want to ask you about this Lions team compared to the last couple of years where that BC team might have wound up losing that game because of mistakes. What is different about this Lions team this year, in particular with this game tonight?
Well, I think we believe that we can win the game. It's just a matter of us playing better. You know, we feel that if we lose, it has a lot to do with, you know, beating ourselves, and we're not executing. And we're playing a good Calgary football team, and you know, they made some adjustments the third time around we played them, but it was just basically the will to win in the second half, play better, but at the same time we did a great job of keeping our composure.
Watching this football game here from our TV monitors, it looked like an exceptionally hard-hitting game. Did you notice that aspect about tonight's game?
Well, I got hit a few times, but it's obviously the bigger hits were against their team, and our defense did a great job of, you know, laying some legs. But, you know, their offense is going to move the football, and, you know, our defense made some key plays at the right time to, you know, disrupt their offense a little bit.
Well, Damon, 3-0 against the Calgary Stampeders this year. Already you're assured a tiebreak with them, and a big, big win tonight. Thanks for joining us in CFL Live.
Well, thanks a lot.
Damon Allen, victorious quarterback for a BC team that just has the Calgary Stampeders number. They win it again tonight in dramatic style. When you think of the chances the Stamps could have had at the end, this, the winning touchdown provided by Robert Drummond. Lions take it 21-20. We'll be back.
Now it's time for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by the oil change experts at Mr. Lube.
Fourth quarter, Kelvin Anderson on the way to the end zone. A touchdown here would have made it 27-14 for Calgary. He fumbles on the 1-yard line. The BC Lions recover. They drive it the length of the field and go ahead by 1 point, 21-20, and that is your turning point.
A wild finish, and a cash donation will be made to the Coaching Association of Canada for the training and development of Canadian coaches in amateur sport on behalf of TSN and Mr. Lube, doing it right before your eyes. Greg Munn celebrates his 5th straight victory over the Calgary Stampeders. The Lions had to come on in the second half to win by 1.